Sure. Yeah, no worries. But yeah, it was interesting because some guys at the match, like during the stage, they'd have to get their finger inside the chamber and kind of clear out the ring
right?
of ice. Yeah, so they could actually
Really?
close their bolt.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, and funny enough, I was running my 457, but I didn't have any issues like that. But I was also keeping it covered with a rifle cover I have between stages. So maybe it helped the snow, you know.
Yeah. You didn't have any issues?
Yeah, I didn't have any issues, and I ran the semi in the morning. So,
hey, Thomas.
Hey, I'm back.
Hey, Tom.
We are live.
Hey, Matt.
I was just telling Rick about the snow we had in the afternoon on Saturday, and how some actions or I guess some bolts couldn't close. I think yours was one of them.
Mine,
right?
yeah, it was lock solid. I had to chip away at the ice that had formed around the chamber to get it closed.
So you gotta carry like a propane torch and a holster now for Stittsville matches.
It's the first time it happens, but I guess.
Yeah.
Did I shoot the CZ last winter? I don't think so. I was still on my B-22, so.
You need like an icebreaker bolt, like a serrated bolt or something, right?
Yeah, the bolt face has like serrations around it to like.
Yeah.
I think it would have been interesting to see how the 1022 would have worked in that weather.
Oh, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
Because it closes up right. The action never stays open.
I see what you mean. Yeah, as long as you kept it covered between stages, it should be fine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once you get a chamber flag in, then you'd be screwed.
Yeah.
But you can get those rifle scope covers, kind of like goes over your barrel and wraps around, kind of like a long sock, or it's not a sock, but what is it?
It's like a taco that goes over.
Yeah, like a taco. Yeah, like an upside down hammock.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
That's actually cool. What I have, and I just waited too long to pull it out, really.
Okay.
But before the end of the match, I was out and covering the rifle. I have one made by one of our esteemed colleague, not to name anybody.
Oh, really?
It's a Womfat special.
It's a Womfat?
Yeah.
Womfat hammock? The hammer hammock?
Womfat rifle weather protector.
So we got to come up with a good acronym for that.
Yeah. But
the Womfat rifle condom.
Yeah. The funny thing is, shooting for snow for me is actually keeping snow off the objective lens.
Yeah.
Because when you're waiting to start the stage, you're usually holding your rifle straight up, and then all the snow collects on the lens. So I basically just left my rifle on the ground until I knew for sure the countdown was coming.
Yeah. You don't have flip up covers?
Not on my CZ,
Well, I was gonna say you don't have a sunshade.
Nope, I don't run one on my rifles anymore. Yeah,
That's
but
nice.
even a sunshade wouldn't get everything out.
It would minimize it significantly.
Because as long as you don't have it straight up, as long as there's just a little bit of an angle, it doesn't go in.
Or we can get those MotoGP umbrella girls to come out.
But actually, that's something we should probably touch during the podcast, because I believe I saw a question or two on the Facebook. I think
like
it was
tips
from
for
Rex.
Shooting in the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do it.
No, that's
don't do it. It's a lot of fun to do.
Shoot in the cold, but don't shoot in the snow.
Yeah.
And never ever blow on your optics to clear the snow.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a rookie mistake.
You only do that once, and then you're stuck with it for.
Every now and again, you'll raise your head to look at something and come back down and realize that your nose or something just fogged the entire. That's so frustrating, but it happens.
All right, guys, we're gonna go live. Stand by, please. Do. Hey, welcome shooters to the Rimfire Nation Podcast. I am your host, Rick Antonio, from the comfort of his warm, toasty house in Montreal. I kind of miss being on the road, and I don't miss being on the road. I got
the trailer.
I got the trailer Mark II now. I got Adam Cool's old trailer because he upgraded to the super big one. So I've finished outfitting it now. That
Nice.
thing is sweet. It's like 2 feet wider and 4 feet longer, maybe more.
That's huge.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like
That makes sense.
it's huge. It's like it feels like double the size.
Wow.
So all dialed in. It's got my work stuff in there, and the only thing I don't have room for is 24 rifles. That's what I need.
You just need like a wall of gun racks in the trailer.
Yeah, like the Matrix side, like the Matrix type.
Yeah, exactly.
You can pick
Just
up
put it behind like a lockable gate thing or whatever.
That's what I'm thinking. Like the mesh, like the expanded steel mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, welcome. We have Matt and we have Thomas joining us this evening. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. It's been a heck of a year, and for those that don't know, Quebec just went through another record day of COVID cases. We're over 9,000 now. We are 400. We were 4,000. No, we were 4,000 yesterday. Now we're over 9 today.
Jeez.
So pray for me, boys.
I'm just gonna go outside.
I'm not going out.
The TSA is expecting 20 million travelers over the next 4 or 5
crazy.
days.
Do you want a zombie apocalypse? Because this is how you get a zombie apocalypse. It's going to be awesome, boys. Just hunker down. Everyone get your preps ready. My wife's going, why are you buying all that propane, rice, and water? Because you're going to have to barbecue on the grill whatever I catch outside.
Barbecue
I'm getting
rice,
ready,
you're
boys.
funny.
Well, luckily for you, the 22 is like the perfect caliber for small game, and you have like thousands and thousands of rounds of that.
So
and plenty of squirrels to go around, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I've lived on the West Island. You've got a good population.
They come to your door. They come to your door.
Something super totally unrelated to shooting, but something I've noticed is in Montreal, most of the squirrels are gray squirrels, but in Ottawa, most of them are black squirrels. I don't know if you noticed that.
Well, black squirrels is somewhat unique to Ottawa. It's not very common.
Oh, is it actually?
Oh,
interesting.
Or this part of Ontario, yeah.
Oh, that's actually very interesting. Because I went to Montreal, I was like, why are all your squirrels gray?
I think all squirrels used to be gray, no? When did they before? I don't know.
I did not know that. But, when I lived in the U.S. for a while and eventually came back, I was like, the squirrels look different here. And it so happens that my nephew opened a bookstore I think he's on Bank Street, called Black Squirrel. So at some point I asked him, I was like, what's the deal with the black squirrel? And he was like, well, it's iconic of this region because there's really not, I mean, the black squirrel population is expanding, but they're unique to this area.
That's really interesting. I grew up in this area, so in my head, black squirrels are the only.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's really interesting. Cool.
All right, before we get going, we want to check out what is new and just arrived at Tesro. Stand by. Let me just share my screen. The big news for this week is the fact that Tesro now carries MDT products. So for those looking for a local source, stocking.
Not only MDT, I think they also got Leopold scopes.
That's true. Yeah. Leopold scopes are there. I've been watching their Instagram posts on how the PR2 is the latest hotness. I've been saying that for months now. So they got their Picatinny bases and Premier scope rings. Awesome rings. If you've never tried the MDT scope rings, the Premier and the Elite rings work a treat. They are awesome. So they are in stock now. A couple of SkyPods in as well as the myriad of grip options available from MDT. So check them out. These are all of them that just arrived. Check out the sale and also the Christmas ideas for those last minute shoppers. So thanks, Esmer and Miriam, for your support. They've been great supporters of the series. A lot of our loaner rifles came from Tesro as donations in their support of the new shooters, and also Tesro. I think most people know Tesro for these sampler packs, but they've been supporting precision shooting for years and years before that. Now they just keep upping the ante with CZ, Leupold, now MDT. So Check them out, Tesro.ca, for all your precision shooting needs.
All this Rimfire PRS stuff is somewhat new to them, but Asmir and Miriam are well established in the biathlon and
The
Olympic style shoot. Small bore.
ISSF? Is that it?
I never
ISSF?
remember the
Yeah.
acronyms, but yes.
I actually just talked to Asmir in person last week because I picked up an ammo order. And he was telling me that the MDT stuff is coming in very soon. So it's cool to see that. And because of you, Rick, I bought my own SkyPod after testing the one for CRPS. Yeah, I pulled the trigger on it during their Black Friday sale.
Nice.
So I have my own
awesome.
now. Yeah.
They are awesome.
And now I regret not doing the same.
Well, now Tesla has it, Thomas.
There's always next year, Thomas.
No, it's the Black Friday component that's important. That's
right.
Sentence.
Yeah, of course.
Otherwise, they're a little on the pricey side.
But I always keep saying this, like, bipod's just a kickstand now, right? 90% of the time, 99.9% of the time, unless it's on a tire or a drum.
You're a match director. You have a say in that.
I know.
Just saying.
Actually, Pascal just got the triple pull, and we were checking it out at the ORPS match. It is ridiculous.
I sent Rick a photo of.
Let me pull it up for those that don't know.
It's so funny.
It is hilarious. It is hilarious.
Just to answer, sorry, there's a comment asking which model I got. I was testing the normal one for Rick. I think it's like an 8-inch leg or something, but I found it too long, so I got the PRS short for my own personal use.
I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool because sitting, I can actually deploy that bipod and be somewhat comfortable with, my elbow on my
the triple pull, you mean?
The one you had.
Oh, really? Okay, so the regular one. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I thought
that would have been at the most collapsed, most like elongated and narrow stance, I guess. Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. So if something said seated but not necessarily unsupported, I
can't find that. I can't find that picture. How did you send that to me, Thomas?
I was actually using Pascal's phone.
That's right. That's why I can't find it. It's in a separate chat.
I was actually surprised how far they extend. Like I knew it was a triple pull, but I didn't realize that I think the original section is longer already. So when the triple pull is fully extended, it must be like, I don't know, like 2.5 feet or something crazy like that. 2 feet.
Standby.
What surprised me is how stout that bottom leg is.
Oh, there we go.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just for the record, he wasn't allowed to do that during the match. This was purposely only for
vetoed that pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was a really funny demonstration, though.
I could probably use that standing. That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's pretty cool to see.
But for the hunters out there, I can see how this would be fantastic. Like you just sit comfortably on a rock somewhere, just open it up and you got yourself a shooting bench.
Yeah. I think I do agree with you, Matt. The PRS version is the way to go.
Yeah, I just
the
found
standard
the
is
one
just a little too long.
Yeah, and even though the legs can go really wide, sometimes you don't want that wide footprint, depending what you're shooting on. And I always wish it was just 1 or 2 inches shorter. I was like, might as well just get the PRS version then. So
you know how many people are cursing at us right now, Matt, for complaining about how our SkyPod is a little too long and it's not perfect.
Yeah. So I will say this though, I was an idiot, and I accidentally purchased the version without the clamp on it. It's just like the really right stuff adapter. So I took the clamp off of the loaner one for now and put it on my own. And I had to order another one, but it's in back order right now. So once that one comes in, I'll put that one on yours and return it.
Cannibalizing, off the parts bin. So year in review, boys. How was your years? Did you accomplish everything you wanted to accomplish this year, guys?
Didn't shoot all the matches I wanted to shoot. That was the sad part.
Yeah.
Oh, boo-hoo-hoo. I didn't have all the matches I want to have.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that makes two of us, really.
At least you guys had NRS to shoot.
Yeah. This year was really weird, even for ORPS as well, because we were shooting it every other month. So every time we shot it, it was a double header match.
I was just telling Rick that I like the format, but I don't particularly like playing catch up and shooting ORPS back to back. Like I really want to get back to the long range stuff that the bonus stages that we have normally. So
right, and those are great ideas. I recommend all match directors throw in their own bonus stages. Like just because it's 5 stages doesn't mean you have to call your day at the end of 5. You can just roll your own bonus stages and put your own steel or push the other steel out further, change the positions, mix it up. Yeah. And ORPS had a great year this year. I think we've got over 24 clubs across Canada. And if you look at the leaderboard, it's a great mix from coast to coast, which is phenomenal. So,
do you know how many shooters are on the ORPS leaderboard? Is it like what, 250 or something? 200? I'm totally guessing here. I have no idea what the numbers are.
I'll tell you in a second.
And my follow-up question to that would be, do we know how many first time shooters there would be?
I don't think we ran rookie info on.
I can pull the stats, but that's going to have to be next week.
Let's take notes. It's at least a couple of hundred for sure, because I added all the ORPS guys to the Tika T1X draw. The UPR. So that did add to it. So yeah, that was an awesome. For those that don't know, Stoker Canada donated a Tika T1X UPR, which is the competition's chassis.
It stands for stock? Ultimate Precision Rifle. So it has like the cheek riser built in and length of pull adjustment,
and it's a fiber reinforced stock as well.
I would say it's Tika's answer to the LRP, or vice versa. I'm not sure which one came out first, but very similar stock.
Yeah, I've never handled one, but Dan's saying it's easy at LRP, but slightly better. Now, see, the Tika 1X already is pretty capable in the hands of a good shooter. I always call out Tony Norman for his tied for third place shooting a stock T1X synthetic at the finale this year. So you can't get any more ringing endorsement than that. It is a capable rifle.
To Dan's comment here that the which one is slightly better? The UR.
He's saying the T1X is better, but I don't agree with him.
I agree.
It's like Ferrari or Lamborghini.
Well, yeah, I agree exactly. For the UPR for one simple reason is I think CZ made a mistake with the LRP where the adjustments are not thumb screw. You have to bring out some tools, some Torx bits, and I find that the particular screw that they use, the indentation for the driver is very shallow, so they're super easy to strip. So small detail, but if you're sharing a rifle with your 10-year-old son for a while, those screws take a beating, and it's
don't do that, Thomas. Just get another rifle, man.
Done.
That's
he already did that.
That's the RPS way of solving problems.
Well, listen, I was waiting for the package from Grey Birch.
Okay.
Let's not talk about that. But no, Jérémy's got a full decked out Grey Birch, which is perfect. Foundation? It's super light. It's small. Foundation.
It's LDR. The same rifle I got for Dory.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Jérémy's a little smaller than Dory, but probably weight's the same. So
yeah, exactly.
Did you see that new heavy barrel they came out with?
Yes, I was really happy when I saw that. Unfortunately it's only 16 inches. I was talking to some shooters that messaged me about it already, and they were hoping it'd be a little bit longer. So I gave that feedback to Grey Birch. We'll see if they do anything with it. But very few guys on the firing line are running 16-inch barrels, right? It's usually around 20. So yeah. I told them if they're going to go heavy and they're trying to get the PRS market, like just put a longer barrel on it because that's what guys want.
I wonder how balanced it is, though.
Well, in their foundation chassis, it'd be very balanced because that thing doesn't weigh anything. But if you put it in something like a KRG Bravo or something a little bit more substantial, I think it'd still be rear heavy. Yeah. Because even though it's a heavy 1022 barrel, it's still a 1022 barrel, right? At this 0.92 inch diameter, so it's not like it's not like a truck axle or anything.
That's the new threaded barrel, right?
Yes, it's the one with the barrel nut to the receiver.
The fusions. system.
Yeah,
Fusions.
which is really cool, by the way. I found the Fusion that I have shoots quite accurately for a semi, and it's nice because you don't have to worry about the V block thing.
Haven't had a chance
Agreed.
to shoot my Grey Birch or Jeremy's Grey Birch yet during a match. I've been looking forward to do that, but I never can get all my act together before the match to, collect drop data and all this stuff.
I know.
It's just-
Both you guys have more rifles than you have fingers.
Yeah, the other day I opened up my gun safe and I was like, that's a lot of Arca rails looking at me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
I'm particularly fond of Matt's latest build, though. The kid one with the
that kid
red-ish-
build. That kid
What?
build, I was really excited to use it. I got a red KRG Bravo stock for my 1022, and I put it's basically a kid build with a Delask receiver, and I was really excited to use it on Saturday morning, but it shot pretty poorly because I ran out of my normal Ely Sport I put through my semis, and I just picked up a brick of SK semi-auto, and my first time chronographing it was the day before the match, and it was giving me horrendous SDs, like 20, 25, and the groups were like 1 inch at 50, so I knew it was probably not going to be great. But it was still fun. I think there's something about running a semi for these smaller matches that's really kind of appealing in some ways. I can't describe why. Like the bolt action is great too, but sometimes like to switch it up a bit, it just gives a bit of variety to it.
Yeah.
You want to be a lazy shooter.
The reason why I didn't bring it out is because we had a few new shooters last weekend, and I usually squad them with me, and I was sharing my rifle, so I figured for a first time experience, I thought the bolt action would be better.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's more in line with what the sport is trying to go for.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And
I don't know about that.
in some ways, I think a bolt action is actually safer because you're not doing any movement unless the bolt's open, right?
Yep.
Whereas a semi, it automatically chambers one, and unless you're good with the safety, it can be a little bit more prone to safety violations. I'll put it that way.
I agree.
True.
And also that Grey Birch has a kid trigger pack in it that is insanely light, so not for a first time shooter. So, but
Get spoiled.
yeah.
I wonder what is the worst trigger out there
Worst in terms of
of pull, like heavy.
it's probably the stock
long.
1022 trigger.
Yeah.
You're probably. I mean, it's not
It's
horrible.
bad,
It's just
man.
heavy.
It's gritty, it's long, you can't
Is
really
it?
feel anything.
I
Yeah, it's
guess.
bad.
On that subject, it was so funny. When I first got the CZ, I think it was a week, and I upgraded the spring in it to Yo Dave.
Yo Dave.
And so I shoot with the CZ for a few weeks, and eventually I went back to the B22, the Savage B22, which I used to think had an amazing trigger. On a few occasions, I actually got pull my eyes off the scope and check to see if it was cocked. No, it was cocked. I just had to pull harder. Like it gave me that feeling like something is wrong. Like this should not be. It's pretty crazy.
See, all you
How
spoiled
quickly
trigger,
you get used to
all
that.
you spoiled trigger tech guys, right?
Yeah,
100%.
seriously.
Anything over 1.5 pounds is like, oh, that trigger. I can't.
And random PSA for those guys who were looking at the Timney trigger for the 457. I don't know when they came out with it, but Timney now has a flat trigger version of that. So because when they first came out with it originally, it was only the curved, and now they do have a model with the flat trigger. So I know some people wanted that. And now if you have a 457, you have an option for a flat trigger. And honestly, I don't think it matters for most people. They just like the look of it. So
True. I can't do it. Oh, it looks sexy though.
yeah, it looks cool.
It looks sexy. Now,
But,
unfortunately, I'm a trigger tech guy.
But Trigger Tech doesn't make a CZ trigger, so that's why it'd be an
So you have an
excuse to get it.
excuse.
Yeah.
That's right.
I can't do it. I can't do it. They've been too nice to me.
I do like my Trigger Techs. I'll say that much.
The customer service is awesome. If things go bad, they're there to support you no matter why or when. They got your back.
I can't remember his name, unfortunately, but there is a Trigger Tech guy at some of the NRS matches. Mark. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. He's super nice, and he actually shot one of them as well. So.
Yeah, no, super guys. I know they're working on a bunch of stuff. I can't.
Ooh, you can't just dangle the treat in front of us and leave it at that, Rick.
I don't have dates, so all I know is there's stuff cooking.
That's cool.
Right.
Very cool.
Yeah, it'd be awesome though. It'd be awesome. I mean, you think of how the world has changed in the last 4 years, from who cares about CZ 457s or 455s or T1Xs or Brigara B14s. Well, they're a significant portion of the firearms being sold and used on a weekly basis now. Arguably more than those REM 700s, right? Like if you think about number trigger pulls,
bang for you,
7.5 to rimfire, right?
Can't beat it. Yeah.
So I would be too bad they don't track the intended purpose of all those REM 700 triggers being sold. I bet you, I don't know, it's got to be 80% rimfire this year.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Trigger Tech doesn't know. Like it's just a REM 700 trigger, but they don't know what it's going.
I think in Canada it would be a substantial amount. I doubt it's that much in the States though.
Oh no, for sure not. For sure, they got tons of options down there. Like, but in terms of center fire matches up here, like you go to
especially
the range,
these last 2 years was brutal, right?
Yeah, even then, like you go to the range, how many rounds are you going to fire off? Right, 100, maybe 50.
Yeah, it's funny because in some ways, rimfire guys use their gear a lot harder and more often than center fire guys because we just shoot so many more rounds, right?
Yeah, 100 rounds. That's just you sighting in.
yeah, exactly.
Not too far from reality.
Yeah, you don't get going until the box is empty and you're opening up the case. Wait,
exactly.
Matt, you were picking up ammo, Matt. Didn't you have like 50,000 rounds?
I had 20,000 rounds. No, I still have a case and a half of rifle match, but I wanted to try. Well, I needed some semi-auto ammo, and I also picked up some Center X just to try it. Just dabble.
You churned through that stack.
Yeah, I really blasted through ammo in the last year and a half or so.
I'm pretty sure I have a text from you that says that should last me 4 years.
Yeah, I was estimating like 3 or 4 years, and
you're trying to make yourself feel better after.
Well, the thing is, when Rick gives me all these rifles to test, he's not giving me ammo with it, so it's got to come from somewhere. But no, I've had a lot of fun. I have no complaints. And the thing about rimfire is it's expensive, depending how much you shoot, but it's still way cheaper than any other discipline.
Yeah, big time.
Very true. Yeah. Thomas, how about your goals for the year? Did you have any goals going into the year, or did you build any halfway through?
Yeah, I don't know. This year was good. I got some practice, not quite as many matches as I wanted in. I was really bummed that the Clarence Creek match didn't happen, but that's more from like a match director standpoint. From a shooter standpoint, I didn't shoot as well as I wanted to, and I'm chucking it to changing my equipment. Maybe that's the last excuse I have.
Because the equipment's better, so you can't blame the equipment itself.
Yeah, well, just getting used to it, I guess. Because there's new scope, new rifle, new chassis, new everything. Went from production to open.
It's such a huge jump.
Yeah.
Would you say the learning curve for the new equipment was substantial, Thomas? Like you actually found it wasn't natural to transition? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a setback at first. And then also I think my expectations were too high. So,
right.
Just, but yeah, I'm looking forward to next year so I can really settle into it. I'm not changing anything anymore. I've said that before.
Yeah.
But
when's that Apex come in?
Yeah. Also, we should ask Vanya. The website used to say like January 20 something, and now it says Q1. So we'll see.
Supply chain, man. Supply chain is it sucks to be trying to deliver stuff on a schedule right now.
Yeah.
Right. So project's
if
just going to take longer.
If your products are moving by air, it's not a problem, but anything that floats is a problem. So,
well, the price for air cargo has just gone through the roof, man. It's insane what they're charging now. It's not financially feasible anymore, unless it's like human heart or organs, So
I don't know how you know that, Rick, but I'm not going to ask any questions.
By the way, if you're looking for, let me know. Just
if you need a kidney.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah. So Thomas, like I know at the beginning of the season you had, I don't know if it was like a strict goal, but you had some sort of level of achievement you wanted to get with your CRPS score or report card or whatever. I just looking at that, for me, I was quite disappointed because for some reason I shot all the NRS matches quite well, but for CRPS I shot a lot worse. So NRS I finished 6th overall, but in CRPS I'm like, I don't know, like 30th or something. So and I compiled all my scores for all the what I would call big matches, so not ORPS, and I shot 9 I think, and 6 of the 9 I placed top 10.
Nice. That's amazing.
But the 3 that I didn't, 2 of them were CRPS.
Right.
So, but the hit, you have to look at the overall hit rates, though, right? Were they harder matches, easier matches? Right. So if you look at the average hit rate and the winners' hit percentages, and compare that to the matches, just to see, it's all those. Kareem saying you're gonna have an all Canadian.
I know. I was smirking at that.
Slippery slope. You already started.
I know.
Well, you already have the chassis, right?
No, his chassis is a 457.
Oh yeah, that's just 457. But
well, that's easy to fix.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not go down that road. But I think part of the problem is did I shoot only 2 CRPS match this year?
Yes, because you only shot Frozen Fingers and even more.
Exactly, and Frozen Finger was pretty much a scrap.
Yeah, right off. Yeah.
So that was the coldest. So you only shot the coldest and the hottest matches known to man, extremes, right?
Exactly. But I think I did okay in Avonmore. Yeah, the Frozen one wasn't a good start. So it is what it is. But that's okay. I'll come out swinging next year.
I felt so bad for the first time shooters, and there were like a dozen of them. Hey, I'm here for my first match. And everyone was saying, yeah, it's only a slight tailwind. It's going to be awesome. No, you don't know. Tailwinds are bad. It's bad juju, man.
That's funny. Yeah, but headwinds or tailwinds are so tricky to deal with.
Yeah, especially Warden Field, man. Mm-hmm. It's the worst. It's the worst place for that kind of wind. But
So, Thomas, how many NRS matches did you end up shooting? Also 2, I think?
A bunch, because I was there for the finale. And so that was the 2-day match. I guess 1 more. So I basically shot twice at what's the name of that place? Yeah, Magneto 1.
Okay, and those were both the 2-day events.
Yeah.
So you shot 3 technically, because the first 2-day event was 2
exactly.
matches. Okay, nice.
Exactly.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. So
NRS matches this year.
Yeah, well, you were super busy, Rick.
In
the summer.
Yeah. Schedules just got messed up, man. Yeah,
I'm just looking through the comments here, and John Ocab, mentions reloading and time spent doing that. That's why he shoots Rimfire.
Absolutely,
and I get a lot of questions now saying, or people asking me if I'm going to reload for my centerfire, and I have no plans to do that because I already bought some factory ammo of 6.5. But I don't plan to actually shoot it until I have a match to work towards. Yeah. Because I'm just wasting, it was so expensive. I don't want to just waste money shooting a 6.5 for no reason. So until there's a match I actually have to work towards, I'm probably not even going to shoot the centerfire. Yeah. And not only that, in terms of training, I know for sure right now I probably have a flinch. Just because I've only been shooting rimfire for such a long time. So I want to train the flinch out of me, leading up to a match, because there's no point in doing it now.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, Matt, but when you fire center fire, there's this thing called recoil. And there's
what's blast. Recoil?
You're gonna feel a strong push on your shoulder and a really loud noise.
You're gonna have to stop that free recoil thing. You actually have to shoulder that rifle.
Yeah. So it's funny because at the range, usually when I shoot rimfire, at Kevin's place or at a match, I don't use ear pro because most guys are shooting, subsonic You don't really need it. But at the range, there's guys shooting center fire beside you. I feel like such an old grumpy grouch, like, oh, these guys shooting center fire. I have to put my ear pro on.
Yeah. Steven's saying,
those
"I haven't
modified SKS with short barrels. Whew,
Oh, yeah.
super loud.
I miss my AR.
We all do, Rick.
I still got him. I'm not giving up hope. I'm not doing anything about it, but I'm just, hope is not a strategy. You ever heard that? Hope is not a strategy?
It's a strategy. It's just not a very good one.
Yeah. I'm not actively, that's the problem. I'm not actively doing anything to make things happen. I guess you have to fight the fights. I got other fights to fight.
So, any news on that sniper series that was pushed back? Is it still going to be a winter match?
No, we're going to be canceling it. There's just right now with there's scheduling conflicts and the specter of COVID.
Right.
So it was going to happen third week in January, but that's not going to happen now. So I think we're just going to scrub it and call it the last victim of COVID for 2021.
Well, at least they had already prepared some ideas, so they've already have good kind of a structure to build on.
Yep. But the challenge for me is I'm trying to find properties in Ontario for NRL Hunter, which is like the other sniper series format.
Yeah.
So this format that we're canceling now was Kevin Needswitz and Ron Sharp putting together an awesome course of fire, really taking advantage of all the traditional challenges you get. But I also want to run the NRL Hunter, which is a super fun format that's easy to set up and easy to score and easy to understand how to shoot. And you can run teams and individuals through it pretty quickly. So
does that match the Hunter series? Would that need dedicated ROs?
It always works better with dedicated ROs, just to keep it, unless the guys shooting first end up ROing for that whole squad, right? Someone's gonna take the hit, so it always makes sense that the first team up does the ROing for the whole squad, and then on the next stage, the next pair will take the point for that one, and on it goes. That's about the only way I can see it working without dedicated ROs. The problem is we don't have a lot of volunteer help right now. I think maybe as we get bigger and it becomes a larger draw, we'll eventually get spotters and ROs.
Yeah.
So
because the reality is if you have 25 spots where you need volunteers, that means you basically need 35 volunteers.
Yeah.
Because some will bail, some will they need to take breaks and things like that. So it's demanding, very demanding.
Yeah. But we'll make it work. We're resilient. Again, if people want the match to happen, then volunteering or taking turns being RO and spotter is just one of the prices. Just like we did way in the early days. Not everyone's going to understand how to do it right, but eventually, after 5 years, it's not a big deal anymore, right? Everyone just knows how to take a turn, and for the most part, it works 99.9% of the time. So
next year is ORPS national standings also going to be May to October again?
Yeah, it'll be. I think it's working well because otherwise, the clubs that run year round, like Stittsville, have an unfair advantage over.
We love frozen fingers around here.
Yeah, and that's cool.
We don't mind the snow.
Yeah, that's just practice, so you can do amazing in May, right? When the first national standings.
Actually, sorry. Oh no, keep going.
But that's fine.
Oh, I was going to say, just speaking of snow and cold, something I realized recently was I had to send back one of my Aries, my Athlon Aries, for warranty because in the cold, the elevation turret would freeze up. Really? But it's funny because at room temperature or hot temperature, it's fine. Like it's a little stiff, but it's usable. But anything below 5 degrees Celsius, it binds up. You can hardly turn it, which is interesting because if you lived in like California or something, you would never notice it, right? But to me, it's a defect because I shoot in the cold.
And because of what happened to yours, and I thought for some reason it was the parallax, because the parallax on my Cronus gets pretty tight in the winter.
Yeah.
I actually went and reread the the information on the Apex, and he does say on there that they've tested it thoroughly.
Yeah.
Very cold.
Well, I asked him that too, remember?
Yeah, exactly. I remember that too.
Because I was interested. And so when I called Wolverine Supplies, does the warranty for Athlon here in Canada. And so I called them up. Super nice people, by the way. But I told her, like, hey, listen, you're going to get the scope in. You're going to look at it. It's going to be fine. But bring it outside. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. And she's like, oh, don't worry. Like, we trust you or whatever. So, but it was cool because, you know, it's not something you would notice unless you shoot in the cold. So it's a really good way to test your gear in different environments as well. Not that it really matters. It's not like my life depends on that scope, but it's just,
wait,
you know,
Matt, one day it could.
Yeah, when the zombie apocalypse comes.
Well, you know, TikTok. Here we go, buddy.
I don't know. If my stuff fails in the middle of a match, I'm not sure if I would be less upset than if it failed any other time.
Right.
So
yeah, you're right. So and the turnaround was really quick. They already shipped out my replacement just yesterday.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's good. That's good customer service. Remember back in the day when it was always your problem?
Yeah.
I sent so I don't know if I should say this online, but maybe they're listening. But I bought a open box Sig Kilo 2000 in the US.
Okay.
And recently the display, like the red stuff, the numbers were basically like fading out from the edges coming in.
Okay.
Pretty bad, to the point where it got almost unreadable. So I look up 6-hour warranty, and I sent it out to, unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the place. Company I had never heard of, but in Toronto. And the guy called me back a day later to say, hey, we acknowledge the problem. You'll get a brand new rangefinder as soon as our shipment comes in. So I guess they're waiting for parts to go. They're not repairing it. They're replacing. They're sending me a brand new one. So I was quite happy about that.
That's cool. That is customer service.
Let me look up the name, because these guys deserve a little kudos.
Hey, Thomas, imagine they gave you one of the poo-poo Cabela's versions.
Then I'd be pretty upset. But I'll notice pretty quick, because mine is 7X, I think, and yours is
mine's
6,
6.
right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
Did you find a
obvious
difference using it, setting up the match on Saturday?
Not really.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I didn't actually use it.
You didn't use it? Okay.
Greg Susi showed up early, and he had a Vortex Razor rangefinder, so he took care of all the range finding.
Nice.
Well, that's why I missed all the targets, because it was all laced with a Vortex rangefinder.
It was just that slightly more optimistic than yours. You must have had it on the optimist setting.
Yeah.
I don't know what next year's gear is gonna bring. What do I want to upgrade in my gear?
Honestly, I've had so much gear change this season. I actually want to just level out and just use it like consistently next year.
Well, you know what I'd love is that Kestrel HUD.
The one on like the side?
Yeah, that's always talking to the Kestrel on the
one Ron Sharp uses.
Yeah. I think that for me would be the final stop. Give me numbers that I'll ignore during the match, you know. Right there in front of me.
Have you seen the little stopwatch people are putting on the side of their chassis?
Yeah, I think those are
it's
cool.
Good.
Yeah.
But again, if you train enough, like, you'll know if you're slow or not.
I agree, but there are some stages where you want to know if you can take your time. Something like a KYL, you know, how much time you have to work with. And there's some other stages where I will use the stopwatch I have on my rifle chassis, but most stages I don't use it. But there are some where it is nice to have.
Like I know when I've got a good hustle pace going, then I'm gonna have lots of time. And I also know when I know I've got 2 good shots left, so make them count, right? So you even slow down more. Yeah,
exactly. And sometimes it's to let yourself know not to rush either.
Yeah.
I can't. Once I'm in the zone, the first thing that goes is my perception of time. So I really have to pay attention. Dan, the SIG is great, but as Matt was saying, if you buy the one at Cabela's, it's a Cabela's
poo-poo
not
version.
Cabela branded, but it's their own model. It's a little different.
Yeah, it's funny because at first you think it's just the regular Kilo SIG 2000, but in brackets it says Shadow. And that's the Cabela's version. That's not as good. Like, it doesn't have as far as range, and instead of 7 times optical zoom, it's 6. So it's a different sensor in there. So it is slightly worse, and it's the same price as the regular one. So.
And the company that does service for SIG is MDC out of Toronto.
MD Charlton.
Yeah.
I've never heard of them before.
Yeah.
They're big IPSC guys.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what. So Kareem's saying everyone says I'm done upgrading until SHOT Show. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what they could bring out that would make me say, that's what I've been waiting for, right?
SHOT Show is in less than a month, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I'm missing other than practice.
One in 11.5 inch twist barrel.
Yeah, at a 25.5 inch length.
Yeah.
maybe a prettier ACC.
I was just about to say there are some new versions of stuff coming out, right? Like the lightweight sky pods and the ACC Gen 2.
Gen 2.
And what else? The new Bagara BMR action that was announced like 8 months ago. That's starting to hit the shelves in the States. I know there's a bunch of YouTube videos on it.
I've been watching those YouTube videos too.
Yeah, and I think Canada should be getting it shortly. Anyway,
I'm hoping to get a loaner or two from Odell.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That'd be cool. That's a production rifle, is it?
Exactly. I was going to say, because that's a production rifle. And
if you change the trigger.
Yeah, you can't change the trigger, but if you slap like a Venom on top of that, or like one of the Arkin scopes, that's like a cheat code for production division, right? I think that'd be pretty cool.
I like that, a cheat code.
It's gonna be misleading though, right? No, because all the good shooters will use that rifle. And then you're going to automatically assume that they won because of that rifle, but they were already winning before.
Of course, right? But it is a good rifle to build up as well. Like, I'm sure IBI can make an aftermarket barrel for it eventually, and then you can stick a Trigger Tech diamond on it. It could be a pretty sweet open rig even.
Yeah. I wonder how heavy it is.
It's very interesting, actually. And on that subject, any plans on changing adding rifles to the list? For ORPS, CRPS, because a couple of the shooters that shot for the first time last weekend, I have hundreds of texts going back and forth with them about what do I think of this, what do I think of that, what do I recommend. And I said I don't recommend anything. Just go with do your research and keep asking questions. What's worse is, especially for the Ontario shooters, since we also have the Northern Rimfire series here, they have a different set of rules for production rifles. So a lot of the guys are getting the two series rules mixed up in terms of what they can use for production in one and the other. So I'm not saying we should just go with their rules, but maybe we should bring it more in line with it or something. You know what was the worst?
I don't know. So
I told those guys. Sorry, go ahead, Rick.
Go ahead, Thomas. Yeah.
I told those guys, just because one of them wanted to buy stuff before the match, and I said, do not buy anything, right? He was going to go to Cabela's and buy stuff, and I was like, well, hold on. Come to a match, take a look at what's on the firing line. Except I realized we don't have that much variety. It was basically MDT from start to finish.
And 10 of them were CZ457.
Variation of Voodoos and CZs. That's it. So I'm like, we lost some variety somewhere along the way. I'm like, where are
that's just natural the process of natural selection and evolution.
It's actually kind of sad because just 2 years ago, the majority of rifles were Savages and Rugers. But now you hardly see Savages or Rugers on the ORPS line. It's Tikas, CZs, and Voodoos.
Yeah.
So that really says something, though, because I think Savage is aware of the situation, and I think they're trying to improve it, right? Because they are losing market share now to
better because they had a head start, and now they're way behind.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And now that production category, division, has the new rules, it's not a Savage division anymore. So a lot of people are leaving it, right?
Yeah, the basic CZ, there's quite a few. I haven't seen that many Tikas, maybe one.
No, there's a couple. There was 2 or 3 T1Xs on Saturday.
Yeah, but one of them was in a MDT chassis, so that's open.
Oh, yes, okay.
In production, I haven't seen one like stock. And that was the part where the guy was, I was kind of showing him. The only rifle that was stock was Brandon's
Savage.
rifle.
Yeah, the
Brandon's
Savage.
rifle, which has like this weird like alligator skin pattern on it.
Hey,
It's pretty
speaking
Gucci.
of Brandon, he is killing it.
Absolutely.
I was on his squad the very first match he shot, and seeing how well he's shooting
Yeah.
last Saturday, it's really impressive.
Practicing, for
Yeah,
sure.
good for him. Yeah, he actually,
so.
I'm pretty sure he outshot me in the morning course of fire.
A lot of people outshot you in that morning.
Yeah, okay, let's not talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a comment here about, turning into a battle of the bucks. I don't think it's a battle of the bucks. I think it's people just wanting to shoot nice stuff, right? Honestly,
Where's that comment?
I don't. It's a Facebook user because they haven't this one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm really not convinced that what you spend really makes that huge
Nope.
of a difference.
I can tell you, if I compare those shooters' results year over year, that equipment had very little to do with how they're scoring.
Yeah.
I think
We
it's
hope,
the fact that,
but it doesn't.
well, 4 years into it, right? I want something new.
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy the same. I'm not going to buy cheaper. I'm gonna buy something nicer, right? It's like,
Yeah,
you're
also
not driving the same car you drove when you were in high school.
the
right?
comfort.
Well,
right?
maybe you
Having
are.
Yeah, having that chassis that's adjustable, the right lane to pull, the right cheek
Yeah.
height, and all this stuff. It's comfort, and it does improve your position, makes you more consistent. But I don't know if it doesn't allow you to shoot up 10 position or anything like that.
No.
Like, it's not.
And again, it's not people trying to win. It's just people saying, I want something else. And if
You also have to keep in mind I don't know if this is a word, upgradability path. You can buy a stock T1X and CZ and shoot production until you want something nicer, and then upgrade the crap out of it and turn it into like this super nice open rig. And that's something you just can't do with a stock Savage or something like that.
Not easily.
Not easily. And at that point, like, your barrel is worth 3 times as much as your rifle, so you might as well, get something else. Yeah. And it's just kind of the way, and also the new shooters looking at what's on the firing line, like what Thomas mentioned, they see all these open guys using CZs, and they say, oh, there's a CZ production division gun as well. It's like an easy choice for them,
Yeah.
Something going on. What's the question here? Question: is a rail bubble level any better than a scope mounted level? I've only used a scope level, but I need a higher MOA rail.
The problem with the rail mounted bubbles is you can't see them most of the time, right?
I actually used the one on mine, but
The
I know
Area
most
419
people can't
bubble?
see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like,
one of my rifles has 3 levels on it because 2 of them I can't see. One of them is in the Area 419 rail. There's another one in the MDT scope rings, and then I have one on my scope that I actually use because the other 2 are too low for me to see them. But
I
honestly,
you gotta try it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't get too caught up on bubble levels. Like, I level mine out, but I don't even look at it unless I'm shooting something past like 300 yards, because naturally your body knows if something is canted one way or the other within like, a degree. And anyway, I think it's more than adequate to shoot something within 300 yards with a 22. If I'm shooting like the really far target, at a match, then I'll just double check my level, but usually it's spot on anyway. So,
I'd like an electronic one that beeps when I'm level.
Yeah.
You could probably rig one up, right?
no, you can just get the send it level. Do you know the send it level?
No.
It's the electronic level. It has lights on it, so it's blue one way, red the other way, and then green in the middle.
I think
so
I've seen this.
it's cool because you don't actually have to look at it. You can just see in your peripheral vision the color of the level, and as soon as it turns green, you know your level, and you just send it, which is the name of
The
it.
guy from the YouTube channel X-Ring uses them on all his rifle.
Yep, and Jonathan Okab just got one as well.
There you go.
Yeah. But they're also like $250 or something, like $300. They're ridiculous. I can't remember how much they are, but they're up there.
Yeah, but if you got everything else, and
Yeah, it's true.
2022,
It's your only upgrade for the year, sure.
It's a whole different budget. Like that was sold last year. I've already that one's gone.
What's cool about the Send It is you can mount it horizontally or vertically. So if you do it vertically, you can do it right up against your chassis, so it takes up very little space. It doesn't really poke out.
Yeah,
I'd like the scope to have it built in so you can see it. Like, have a little laser line above your Stadia,
just like the camera level.
that'd be fantastic. Sky's the
Well,
limit.
wait a minute. Well, wasn't there a scope with an intelligent reticle that told you
So,
where to hold?
On that subject,
Wasn't a SIG Romeo?
There's a burst scope that does that, right?
yeah, and there's also the ATN, I think, that is fully digital.
Yeah, but those are all more hunting oriented than they are.
No, but
PRS and stuff.
so then this could be the start of a very long tangent, but in my opinion, a digital scope makes so much sense. You don't have any more eye box problem, you don't have parallax problem, you don't have focus problems, and you can do so much with just 2 turning knobs. But at some point, of course, the next step is to sync it to your Kestrel and sync it to your laser rangefinder. So, is there a place for something like that in PRS?
It would have to be in its own division called the cheater division, or the I don't have skill division or something like that. I think a lot of the guys that buy nice gear, it's not because they're trying to make it easier for themselves. They just like nice gear.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like I'm 5 years into this, I like nice things now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, I could shoot production, and there's nothing wrong with shooting production. Now, like every year around this time, I go through and say, do we need to let more in? Like I'm this close to saying all Ruger is available for production, right? Is it going to matter? If I said the same thing for CZ and Tika, all of them are production now. So what would the net effect be?
I agree. It probably doesn't affect scores, but I think in terms of perception and new shooters getting into the sport, it's good to have the line draw somewhere with price, because you don't want to make them feel like it's a gear race, even though it might not be, right? You want to have the more economical options in one division, I would say. So that's just my opinion. But I think as a new shooter, especially like, let's say university students, someone fresh out of school, they don't have $7,000 to drop on a Voodoo or whatever. And if they see that even production guys at that point are using MTRs and, all these match grade rifles, they might be a little bit more hesitant to try it. Yeah. So I feel like having the match grade stuff out in open is a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. So there's the production open and unlimited, right? That was always the opportunity for us to go that way.
Right.
What do you
draw? I have a little idea. I messaged this to Thomas a couple of days ago. I don't think it'll ever be implemented, but I really like the idea. So we keep production division as it is, but we delete open division and it becomes overall, because you're still fighting for top spots. But if a production division shooter gets top 3 overall, they get both the production medal and the overall medal, which means if you get beat by a production division shooter, it means you suck. Not you suck, but their equipment is working for them and they're shooting good, and you can feel bad about yourself with your $7,000 rifle. And it's kind of an incentive for guys to use budget rigs to try and get both those medals and show people that it's not all about equipment. You know what I mean? Because right now, if you're a production division and you get 2nd overall, you still only get your production medal, right? And the 3rd place guy technically gets the 2nd place open medal. So I think it'd be cool if you open it up just overall and production.
It's not a crazy idea,
Yeah.
It's not a crazy idea, Matt.
Was it the 2019 season or the 2020 season? Basically, Tony showed up with a Savage B22 and basically took overall 2nd and 1st place the entire season.
Yeah.
I think that the level of competitiveness has gone up a lot, but when he showed up, he led the entire thing with a production.
But I really like the idea I present, because as an open shooter, you would feel like if you see these production division shooters take your medals, take your medals away from your spots, it's not the equipment, and you feel that pressure to perform even better. And I feel like it'd be really good for the production division guys, because they have a chance of getting 2 medals, not just 1. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought it was a cool idea, but I told that to Thomas the other day as I was brainstorming things.
Yeah.
I have to think about the way to implement that. without turning off everyone else, right?
Yeah.
That's all the question
But like, I think it's a win-win because in open division, you're expected to outshoot the productions, right? All else equal.
No,
even though we
you're
know,
not.
well, I mean, like,
No, you're not expected to. You're just playing in your field, right?
right?
That's,
Okay,
that's a big thing, right? Because of equipment, you're shooting in that division. That's the only thing
Right.
it means,
Yeah.
right? Because Tony Norman
but-
shooting his T1X cleaned 97% of the field, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
Or
sorry, I
99%
shouldn't say you're expected to outshoot them, but your equipment has an advantage, and that's why you're in the open division.
I mean, that's the freaking ultimate bragging right.
I guess so.
Right.
Does it have an advantage? Yes, it's got an advantage.
Yeah, it
but
has an
it's
advantage.
straight
That's
down
why
to
it's
the
in
shooter.
its own division.
Yeah.
But if you just open it up to an overall, medal, then the production guys are really fighting for bragging rights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Corey Howe, I shoot open because I like shiny things. Exactly, Corey. I know. Yeah.
So here's another question then. The trend for more weight, right? We saw it go up, and now we're starting to see some carbon fiber products coming out from MDT. And
yeah, but they're heavily
Yeah.
marketed towards hunters, though.
fair enough, but for the same reason you and I want to shoot our gray birch or light 1022s for our RPS is because these heavy rifles are really heavy. And then last
Yeah.
weekend, Pascal showed up with his brand new setup. It's a Bergara with the carbon fiber dropped into
HNT 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he killed it. I mean, he took a match to get into it. The first match was like, he did well, as he normally does, but he killed it on the second one. So I keep wondering if we're going to see that trend reverse at some point.
But he's a good shooter, though, right? He's a good
excellent shooter.
I don't think you will see the trend reverse for the larger matches. And keep in mind that rifle he was shooting is Avery's. Like he built a lightweight for Avery, right? But there is a place for it, even in competition.
That's just how he justifies it, really.
Yeah, so my plan next year is to shoot ultralight.
Cool.
Oh yeah, that's what you're gonna go for.
That's. I haven't decided what rifle yet.
But it's going in the HNT 26.
No, not necessarily.
Oh no,
So
okay.
So there are several options. So one of the video series we're going to do is ultralight rifle options.
Cool.
Right, and then you get to see it and play around. So we'll have all of those at matches for folks to try out. Because I think we've gone to the end of 22 pound. You can't.
Yeah,
that's the max weight that you can go with full weights. Internal.
Pascal's rifle is 24 pounds.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
How did he get that much weight?
His deuce is 24 pounds, ACC, all weights, and he has a steel KevFat plate on it.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a quarter-inch mild steel. That thing is like a hunk.
It also has a Razor HD Gen 2, which is like 10 pounds.
31 ounces. Just to answer SR's question, there's no cash or ammo at these shoots. Trophies, all of the prizes are a random draw, so there's no incentive for folks to really game it other than bragging rights. Mostly what you get are the top guys trying to beat each other all the time. And everyone else just watching the hilarity as people don't match up. Yeah, again, balance for sure. So once you get like a ultimate lightweight build that's balanced, that is,
it should work well.
It's gonna be interesting, right?
I still think heavy rigs settle better though. And the micro whatever vibrations or whatever micro movement you have in the system isn't as present.
Well, that's the inertia, right? Technically.
Yeah, and you can tune that out with vibration absorption dampeners and.
Oh my gosh!
So instead of weights, you're putting
Soon we're all just gonna have a gimbal in our chassis.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, Matt, you play badminton and I played it too. Like they've got so many different gadgets, little squigglies in the frame here and there.
Yeah.
Little extra weight at the bottom where your they call the the strings are attached to damper. Maybe we'll start having extra bits.
Well, MDT came out with the buttstock inserts that do exactly that. They're dampening inserts. Yeah.
You just got to look at what the carbon bike guys have been doing for decades before, right? carbon technology has been out for 30 years or 20. Yeah, almost.
It's funny
30
you
years
mentioned
now.
cycling because I come from a cycling background and I worked at a bike shop for quite a few years. Actually,
Nice.
can you see my posters up there?
Nice.
So I'm actually very familiar with working with carbon or carbon fiber and the properties of it and how it can be built up and stuff. And it's very interesting because when I saw the HNT26 or anything carbon, like the first thing I look at is the carbon weave, and I try and like figure out, because there's different grades of carbon, right? A lot of carbon is cheap and it's a lot more resin than it is fibers. It's basically plastic at that point. But the high grade carbon, you can kind of tell by the way it looks.
Yep.
So I like to critique carbon fiber when I see it.
So my last carbon bike was a Specialized Paris-Roubaix Pro.
Ah, nice. Yeah, that's the endurance model.
Yeah. That's where I stopped. That's when I stopped cycling.
Yeah.
That was the end. What? Kareem had a new rifle? Oh, tell me more, Mark. How's that possible?
There was a question here from before that asked if Colin upgraded. And I guess he did from last year. He has the ACC now for his 457.
Colin and I have exactly the same build. The only difference is he's got a bit more weight on it and the
barrel tuner. Yeah.
And he's been shooting outstanding at every match he shows up.
And he
he's
never
too busy
practices.
to train, so I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't practice. He just shows up to matches and wins medals.
Maybe that's our mistake. We shouldn't shoot too much or something.
He's a natural, though.
Absolutely.
Oh, that LRP is like 8.5 pounds. It's almost 4 kilos. I'm looking for like a sub 6 pound rifle.
Russ Rodriguez
it would have to be
rifle, the TCR 22. Doesn't weigh anything.
Yeah, you don't want to compete with that thing, though.
Yeah, there's also the Winchester Wildcat. But,
right.
Rick, to get something that light with a scope on it, you mean?
Yeah.
You'd probably have to get a carbon barrel.
Without the scope.
Oh,
because I figure the scope's going to be the same no matter what.
Well, okay, so both the B14 and the BMR come with carbon barrel configurations from the factory.
Right.
Or you can always just get Ryan to spin you up a carbon barrel with whatever you want.
Funny you should say that.
I knew that was coming.
Funny you should say that. Yes.
But wouldn't it be cool to have a 700 footprint rimfire with a carbon barrel? Because I don't think I've seen that yet. Like a Rimex or a Voodoo with a carbon barrel.
Well, the Barrera, that's Remington.
You will see.
Right. Sorry, I meant a custom action, I guess.
Yeah, you'll see a Deuce with a carbon barrel shortly.
Okay, there we go. Nice.
Keeping it all Canadian.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And then if you look at so Savage B22 Precisions are also super light.
Are they? What's the barrel length on those? Are they also 20-inch?
You got choices.
It's funny because when the B22 Precision came out, there was a lot of hype around them, but I don't see any on the firing line at any matches. At least not around me.
They're 7.5 pounds.
So it's not super light.
Not super light.
Yeah.
I was looking at the CZ457 Precision.
Oh, there is Rick. There is a model of 457 that comes with a carbon barrel in it from Proof, I believe.
Oh, is that the Area 419? That's the one that Chris Tischler runs.
Yes, that's right. That has a carbon barrel on it.
That's the one he lends out and gets beaten by his own rifle.
Yes, but he used it at the CRPS finale with a really good result.
And he did okay with it. Yes, he did.
Yeah. So.
Oh, Kareem's already backpedaling. He tried his Bergara BXR, but that's not the reason he beat me.
Oh, BXR. Sorry, that's the 1022.
Yeah,
Bergara.
1022 carbon.
Okay,
yeah, that's a nice rifle. I'm surprised I don't see more of those.
Kevin Goyette had one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good shooters. I'm eager to see how the new steel barreled gray birch turns out.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Fusion.
I almost want to ask if I can send mine in to get a steel barrel put on it.
Swap it.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
You know,
just
Matt,
to try.
you need a backup to your backup rifle.
Yeah, well, it's Dory's rifle technically, so that's the only reason why I'm not doing it.
Yeah, so you both need it. So
And the
Dorian's
weight is a
backup.
factor for
Yes,
Dory, so.
exactly.
True.
Yeah.
So what's that build weight then for her?
Her rifle right now, her rifle right now is I can't remember how much over 5 pounds, but I think it's just over 5 pounds. I'll say 5.25 with the scope.
Really?
Yeah, with the Diamondback Tactical on it.
Interesting.
It's really light. It's the only rifle so far that she can shoot offhand 2 minutes comfortably.
Yeah.
The 457 she had before, she could do it, but she wasn't having fun by the end of the 2 minutes. You know.
Is that what stock or chassis did they?
It was just the synthetic.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty light already.
Yeah, but also Dory's 95 pounds or whatever. So
she's been training with a camera all year.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Another really cool thing. So I was talking to Grey Birch recently, and with the new, I don't know. I don't think it's in production yet, but I asked them if they could extend the Picatinny rail forward of the receiver a bit, because 1022 receivers are quite short already. And to get the proper eye relief with a lot of these competition scopes, the eye relief is quite long, so you can't push it forward enough. And they said they fixed that. So I think on their new generations of receivers, at least for the LDR, there will be a bit of an overhang.
Oh, nice.
For the Picatinny rail. Yeah,
that'll work better for
really
it. So,
Shoot,
yeah,
we
so
gotta
that's
start
problem.
upgrading again.
That's the problem with
Thomas. What's that? Sorry, Rick?
That'll help work with your KRG Bravo chassis.
Yeah, exactly. So I think if they come out with the steel fusion with a longer barrel and the receiver with an extended pick rail, I will actually just buy one.
It'll need at least an inch and a half.
Well, the Delask receiver has that overhang, and it's only about an inch, but it's just enough to get eye relief with my scopes.
But the other option is the cantilever.
But it's really hard to find. It's really hard to find a cantilever mount that's not AR co-witness height, which is too high for most bolt type or precision rifles.
Because they're set up for 1/3 co-witness, right?
Exactly. So
I did try the Athlon cantilever scope on the Grey Birch, and it felt like it settled in perfectly. My only beef with it was that they had these large half-inch knobs that were right where the charging handle is. So I just scraped my my knuckles on this thing all the time. So I swapped it out.
Is that a canted? Is that a canted mount? Because you can just flip it.
No, because it's canted if it's forward. So if you flip it, it'll be backwards.
I would have needed to buy the zero, like the flat one, not the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if you could just pop the bolt out and screw it in from the other side.
No, because the clamp.
Capture?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but
with the right friend, anything is possible.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I guess the problem is eye relief, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it just gives you more options if you have the rail space.
Yeah.
So I also told them they should have some different designs, because their bolt system uses a threaded bolt handle, not a regular Ruger 1022 setup. So I told them they should have different designs for their bolt handles, like different grip and stippling and stuff, just to spice it up a bit.
I hope you told them in a really condescending and patronizing manner.
No, I say everything's super nice.
If you really cared about performance, I can see it now.
I want a bolt handle that matches the knurling that you find on the turrets of the Apex. I think that looks pretty cool.
Actually, I can't remember what the knurling looks like on the Apex. It's kind of like cross, right? Like scalloped, if you will.
Yeah, you actually have a name for it. It's like grenade style or something like that.
Okay, because my Delask charging handle is like a grenade pattern on it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Sold.
You should look that up. Yeah.
Rob said that the USO 12X fits the bill for the short rail. That's interesting.
Yeah, but that's a very short scope in general.
But it would also shave off potentially a few ounces. That was one of the reasons why I was interested in a fixed scope with less mechanical bits and parts.
Right.
To try to save on weight on Jeremy's rifle. But I think USO is out of the price range for my little kiddo's rifle.
It's only $600 US.
Is it?
Yeah, for the
I
USO
didn't
12.
think, I didn't think
12X.
USO had anything in that ballpark. And that's okay.
USO 12X $595. It's a production.
Yeah. It's part of the TS series, TS12 or whatever. Yeah.
Let me see what the weight is. 18 ounces. Wow.
That's amazing because
light.
even the Diamondback clocks in at what 27, 26, something like that.
Yeah, that's a light. That's a light scope. Now you got me looking. What's the reticle look like?
It doesn't have a zero stop though, and I'm pretty sure it's 6 mils per rev. I'm pretty sure from what I remember. Yeah.
Sorry.
I seriously considered that scope when I was getting one for my Grey Birch build as well. So I remember some specs about it.
30 mil travel.
Which is really good. Yeah,
that's excellent.
Oh yeah, it looks like it's going to be 6 if you look at the turret up close. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 6. But for ORPS, that's not a big deal because you're only ever dialing 2 mils, right? So.
Yeah, it's 3 to 12x. Interesting.
So I put the 457 IBI barrel back on my 457 because I was having some extraction issues with it in the summer, and now it seems to be fixed.
Did you have an MTR chamber on it? MTR barrel?
Yeah, I had an MTR barrel on it, and then I bought the fluted IBI, but I only ran a couple hundred rounds, and it was giving me some extraction issues. So I gave it to John Gingrich to fix up for me, and then I just ran it again last week. So
John just took a bronze brush to it and just drilled it until a bronze brush wore out.
No, the extractor slots weren't cut close enough to the chamber, I guess.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he just kind of ground them down for me in a nice professional way.
He used the same Dremel bit he used on the spur mount.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got no shame, that boy.
Yeah.
Now, on the problems you were having with the IBI, did you not shoot a maple seed with that combo?
Yes.
And so managed to...
The maple seed I shot with the IBI barrel was when it started giving me issues, was on that day. And it was so frustrating because it was during the MQTs. So trying to qualify riflemen while your gun isn't extracting is really bad.
You know how many times I've seen perfectly serviceable rifles shit the bed at a MQT? It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking.
And the most frustrating thing about that is during the day, you're shooting hundreds of rounds leading up to this, and it was completely fine. It only fails when you're shooting the qualification.
And when you take it home for the rest of its life, it'll never act up again.
It is not just the test of the rifleman; it's a test of the rifle.
Yeah.
We had a pretty muddy, rainy maple seed weekend. I think it was right
October,
November, something like that. Yeah. I mean, it was. In between MQTs, Kelly and I would go up and down the line, basically running boar snakes just to get the mud out of everyone's chamber and everything. It was
crazy. Yeah, I don't enjoy those days. Yeah, I think the rifles can smell fear.
Right.
I swear, something just happens every now and again. It's like, it worked fine all day until now. Maybe people are just clenching and twisting the action with the tension in their bodies. I don't know. But if
only if the range was grassy and stuff, it would be fine. But the particular dynamic range where we do maple seeds at Stittsville turns into a mud pit. Very quickly.
Embrace the suck.
And it's like 6 inches of mud. It's not just surface mud. Yeah. It's the real deal.
You'll sink to your ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun though.
Yep.
Keep going for that. You talk more about those maple seeds than any other maple seed. Right? Who cares about the perfect sunny day ones?
Yeah.
The best thing about maple seed is now when you know someone is either a rifleman or an instructor, you can trash talk them harder on offhand stages during match.
True. That's why you got to keep practicing. Otherwise,
exactly.
You don't want to suck. You don't want to suck. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
That reminds me, I have to put that QD adapter at the front of my ACC.
Right. Yeah. So Thomas before ran just the sling studs on his production rigs. Yeah. So when he switched to the ACC, he's going to a QD. So I don't know, I re-updated his sling with a QD mount, but he forgot to put the QD mount on his chassis.
Yeah, I know.
So he couldn't even
show up
use
at
it.
the firing line with
Oh.
my sling and the rifle. I was like, that's not gonna work.
How'd you do on that stage anyway?
I did all right, actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I did all right.
What
I
did
mean,
do to get around
that one stage, the size was pretty generous, so it wasn't too bad. Which stage had an inch and a half at 100?
That was the bucket. The
The
stage.
bucket.
Yeah.
I hit it a couple times, and I didn't think that was happening. I also brought the wrong ammo, so I basically just grabbed my range bag, not realizing that my SK long range was not in the bag.
So what were you shooting?
CCI standard.
Oh,
So
wow.
I basically
Okay.
found some of the at the bottom of my range bag. So when I saw the 1.5 inch at 100, I was like, "Eesh, that's smaller than my SD for sure."
So was the new shooter that was borrowing your rifle or sharing your rifle using the same ammo, or did he bring his own?
No, we used the same.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if you imagine you were swapping ammos like every
service. No, full service.
Wow.
Gig here.
He had quite the experience because he had like your whole set, like the ACC and the 457 and a Cronus.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, well, that's quite the first match
Spoiled.
equipment.
Yeah. You've ruined him.
Well, if you're in the Stittsville area and you want to shoot a match for the first time, you're welcome to the MD's rifle anytime.
Yeah,
Nice.
but I'm saying now when he goes out to buy his own, he has standards that he didn't know about before.
Yeah, but I mean, after we went through, like, I showed him the tangent data on the line and everything. He's my rig is very reasonable here.
who had the tangent theta?
Rex.
Yeah,
Rex. Oh, nice. Yeah.
He also it's on a Voodoo that's in a Cadix chassis. I can't remember what trigger he runs, but it's a very nice setup. Yeah,
some good glass. I actually got the opportunity to look through it just before the CRPS final. I showed up at the range, and Tony was working on that rifle for Rex, and it was quiet. I finally got a chance to look at it, and it lives up to its reputation, I think.
Did you get
amazing.
to feel the turrets?
So I would say, like, the glass, I'm not experienced enough, or I'm not finicky enough about glass. I don't think I can judge it for its true value. But the turrets, however, are fantastic. I mean, it's a crisp stop. If you want to go too quick, you just go tick, 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 and you don't skip a beat or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's very, very well, very precise engineering, that's for sure.
Nice.
Do us Canadians proud, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, the Marc Olivier, who I was sort of going back and forth, that's the new guy that was shooting with me last weekend, and we're going through this, and I made it a point to point out, well, these are IBI barrels made in Canada. These chassis are made in Canada. This rifle, we didn't have a deuce on the line this weekend.
Right. Yeah,
I don't think we did. But I mentioned, like a little dream of having a completely Canadian, and he was absolutely surprised. I would have never expected that we had so many high-end equipment, gun equipment in Canada.
Yeah.
So between the triggers, the barrels, the chassis, custom actions.
Wait till you tell, and all Savage Rimfire rifles are made in Canada.
Mm-hmm. So, very cool. I guess the all-Canadian build is a bit more, well, a tangent Titan on top of a Savage would be pretty funny.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny. It would work though. No question about that.
Absolutely.
I just got to bring Savage and Tangent Theta together.
Yeah. They need to expand the line a little bit, but towards the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe they can kind of meet in the middle. Like Tangent can come out with a cheaper one and Savage can come with a nice one.
How come Pascal didn't run his deuce?
Because he was testing that the carbon Bagara in the HNT.
Oh.
Which he calls his ORPS.
Avery's rifle.
Well, it depends on the day. Sometimes you ask and he calls it the ORPS rig, and other days he calls it Avery's rig.
It's not a crazy idea though.
It's
Well,
not.
'cause
ultralight,
the
super
Deuce
accurate.
is so heavy, especially his. He's put so much weight onto that thing.
Yeah.
If you know there's going to be an offhand stage, it's not the right tool for.
Nah, you just suck it up in practice, man. Just
I'm
suck it
scared
up
for
in
the
practice.
barricades he puts that thing on. I feel like it's going to crush it.
Yeah.
I think he actually said it's 24 pounds when I asked him last time.
Yeah.
Kareem is tempting me so bad. He's like, dude, there's an easy fix for the Deuce. Yeah, I know. Someday.
Oh, you see what? I think that's Gabriel.
Yes.
Pascal asked my daughter to shoot his carbon Vergara Saturday, and now she doesn't want to shoot her B-22 anymore.
I don't blame her.
Yeah. Never let anyone try another rifle. It's nice.
Yeah.
Or worse is looking through nice glass and then going back to yours.
Yeah.
Ugh, it ruins you.
Gabe, next time let me know. We'll bring a gray birch for her. See if she
Nice.
likes this
There you
semi.
go.
Yeah. Well, actually, a Grey Birch, I guess, is a Canadian build too,
Yeah,
right? I mean, all you have to do is slap a Canadian scope on it, and that's a Canadian build.
Yeah.
true.
See, I forgot that when I was going through the inventory of Made in Canada. And isn't SB, they also make 1022
Spectre
parts.
Ballistics.
Yeah, are they not Canadian also?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Out of Alberta, near Edmonton.
Yeah. Actually, between those two and Delask, you
Yeah.
have some pretty nice 1022 parts to work with.
We have to get some steel challenge going.
Yeah. Some race guns.
Yeah,
I agree.
Just
Need another
Matt
MD in
is
this area.
dying to win a medal.
I need to win a medal. I like
Yeah.
that's my dream is to win a medal.
I keep forgetting to give you one.
No, I don't want you to give me one, Rick. I want to earn it so that I can
Earn one?
say
Fair and
Oh,
square.
that's gonna be a long time, Matt.
yeah.
Some of those guys are super fast.
Well, see, the good thing about race guns is you can go in with as many divisions as you want, right? So I'm going to go with pistol. I'm going to have a pistol optic, rifle optic.
You can go all four for sure.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Dory and I worked together to design the metal design or whatever. So I just want to win one so I can say I designed it and I won it. Yeah.
So, Mark, for ORPS May to October, that's just for the national leaderboard. The season runs from January to December,
There's
but we're only
a course
counting
every month.
we're only counting points for the national championship May to October, since that coincides with when most ranges are able to operate. Not everyone lives in sunny Vancouver Island, Mark. Unfortunately, some people can't even get to their range.
Yeah. How's the flooding situation there? Is it getting better? Getting cleaned up a bit? I don't know.
It's pretty much done. Like the road, some of the road, I think Coquihalla reopened a couple of days ago. So slowly, I think they're still, trying to recover. I don't think the flooding is as bad, but certainly lives have been altered.
Yeah, of course.
For years.
I'm assuming like sorting out livestock that were moved to other places is going to be a bit of a challenge.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure a lot of livestock was lost as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really too bad.
Yeah.
9 degrees. Oh my gosh.
Freddie's saying 9 degrees. Oh, Kim's out of Kamloops, right, Kim? Yeah. Tough life, Freddie. Tough life.
Yeah, I think it would actually be cool to give tips on cold weather shooting sometime. Like maybe compile a list. Oh, sure. I was going to say in a more formal format, but yeah, we can brainstorm now too.
while we're here.
Yeah, I mean,
people are going to be shooting over the holidays.
Well, I'll ask you guys what your opinion is on acclimatizing your ammunition. Like, do you take it out of your bag and like leave it on the cold to get acclimatized, or do you keep it in your pocket to keep warm? Because I know there's a lot of different opinions.
I keep it in my pocket, thinking that that's going to be the most stable between seasons.
Okay, like even in the summer, you keep it in your pocket too. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because my pocket is going to be roughly body temperature in the summer, right? It's not going to be 100 degrees or anything like that. So
yeah.
So my thought process on keeping it in your pocket is it'll keep it warm, but as soon as you take it out to load, how long is it sitting in your magazine before you chamber it and fire it off, right?
Yeah.
Like it must
less than a
be pretty-
minute, right? By the time.
Well, I load my mags right after I'm done shooting. So it's like 10, 15 minutes or something.
Yeah, but then if you keep your mags in your pocket.
Yeah, I keep the mag in my pocket because I don't shoot a voodoo,
okay.
right? That actually, this is one.
Yeah,
to me,
that's true. Yeah.
it's a huge advantage of the CZ
Yes.
mags. You can have
Yes.
5 of them in the pocket
Yeah.
jeans, you know.
Yeah, they're not this big.
Exactly. But yes, I do keep them in my pocket, and I mean, I pull it out of my pocket whenever the RO says load and make ready, and
Okay, that's actually really interesting because I was purposely leaving my ammo boxes in my tripod pouch to just leave them out in the weather to just have everything the same.
That's fair too.
So I crony, right? And whatever temperature it is whatever I keep the rounds in.
Right.
Because your velocity has got to be consistent, right?
Oh, I see.
Right. So if it's minus.
So you mean you'll crony in the morning and whatever? Yeah, and you'll just keep it outside.
Keep it outside.
Yeah.
Just keep it consistent.
Yeah.
Right. And keeping snow out of everything is the biggest challenge. Just because it's cold doesn't mean it's snowing out. So that's not always a given. But if it's blowing snow, then you've got to keep something draped over your action if you can safely.
Use your sunshade.
Sunsage and flip covers are huge.
So my thought about the sunshade as well is it's funny because when I took it off was actually last winter. And the reason why I took it off was because we were having the wet snow. And so you can't just kind of like brush it off. It'll melt. Right. And so with the sunshade on, I can't reach in there and wipe my lens. So that's actually why I took it off. And I figured if I'm going to be wiping my lens all day, I'm just going to keep it off. And after that, I never put it back on. So
I don't wipe lenses. I get one of those squeezy bulbs. Like
exactly.
Blow air.
Yeah. That'll blow air. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, never use your mouth to your breath to it's the worst idea ever.
It's the worst.
It's fine, it's not. Yeah.
It's not.
Instant fog.
Yeah. If you had like a can of compressed air, that would be the best.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to get ultimate. And then dry lube. Like just wipe it.
I've heard about
dry.
that. I've never tried it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say like shooting in extreme cold is a little bit easier than shooting in the transition period. Like notably the Eastern Final at Battle Hill last year. I mean, it was just hovering. So as soon as the snow touched anything, it turned to water. So it was essentially raining, just colder. It was pretty tough to keep anything. Dry.
That match was especially difficult too because of your body temperature. Because as soon as you get wet, your core gets colder. So it's not just snow. And
I bring an extra set of jackets and pants.
Yes, exactly.
Change halfway through, so you're dry.
Yeah.
But I had the luxury of having my trailer with me, so everything's there anyway.
Your whole house is with you there, Rick.
Yeah, my whole house, and a nice thermos of hot tea.
I agree though. If there's any chance of me getting wet in the cold, I will always have a change of clothes because it's unbearable. Basically, it's like
I mean, having a pop up is good too, right? Because then you could stage all your stuff in there.
Actually, this Facebook user gives a good point too about barrel obstructions in the snow, because as soon as you dip your muzzle in the snow by accident, there could be snow in your bore.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Clothing wise, definitely layers, lots of them.
Layers.
And synthetic as much as possible. I think the most interesting is what people do for their hands. I'm a mitten all the way. It looks silly, but as long as my fingers are together, they stay warm enough that even in minus 27, minus 30, I can take my mittens off for the time, like the duration of the stage. Except for one that caught me off guard last year, where I took my mittens off, but there were push-ups that needed to be done halfway through. That was rather unpleasant.
Keep going. Sorry, keep going.
One last note is, guys wearing gloves with light triggers, watch yourself, because that's a DQ now,
So I will say, I was going to mention that, Thomas, if you're going to shoot with gloves on, so I do something similar to you, Tom, where I keep my hands in my mitts, but I have liners on. So I always wear liners. So when I'm shooting in the winter, you'll see I have liners, which are just thin gloves. But you have to practice with it, and safety has to be, as usual, has to be number one priority. So there was 2 guys on my squad, going to obviously be unnamed, but there's their first time shooting, or they don't shoot with gloves on very often. And there was an ND. It was a safe ND, towards the target and everything, but he didn't mean to pull the shot off. And that was the one stage he was shooting with gloves on.
Right.
So with, again, light triggers and, these match rifles. Yeah, there's 2.
That's interesting. I heard of only one.
So Matt, were you embarrassed when that happened to you?
It wasn't me. But so the other ND, another person also shooting with gloves on for that one stage, and they mentioned to me afterwards that it's because they were shooting with gloves on. They're not used to it. It's both the dexterity and the lack of feeling when you have gloves on, because you don't have the skin contact. So it's just fabric, and fabric doesn't have a grip on it either. So it's a lot easier to pull a shot off. You have to be really careful. I would say it's worth practicing dry fire with gloves on before you try it with live fire, because it is substantially different.
And also stage tempo is so different from dry fire tempo. Like when you get in there, the adrenaline's running and you're manhandling that rifle that in ways you normally wouldn't. Yeah. Especially if you're just trying to get into position, it's like bad things happen.
I mean, it goes back to safety 101. Like when I'm not on the trigger, I'm consciously feeling the side of my chassis with my index finger. So it only goes in the trigger guard if I know I want to pull a shot off. I think it's really crucial to be strict about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, like for us shooting with gloves on, it becomes even, sketchier. So
just be careful.
I was a little harsh on that with 2 of the new shooters last weekend, because I noticed that, as they're racking the bolt, the finger goes straight in.
Yeah.
Like that's dangerous. And I even also noticed that when we did the left-handed, because you're using your other hand, the finger stayed in the trigger guard. And I realized that because the rifle wouldn't cock, right? As soon as he pulled it down, because
so his finger was still on the. Oh wow! Okay.
Like, take that finger out of there.
Yeah. So I think new shooters and people who aren't used to shooting with gloves, especially for winter shooting, you have to be very cognizant of that. And again, like a DQ sucks in a match. Like, oh no, I got 0 points. But there's a lot worse things that can happen than a DQ, right? So you got to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is this? Oh, if you shoot and still keep a barrel snake with you to clean the barrel.
The bore obstruction thing. Yeah.
That makes me cringe, though. Once you have got that barrel seasoned nicely, you're gonna mess with
that. Yeah. Well, what's better, having something blow up in your barrel, or
Not much you can do, man. Unless you get that barrel heat soaked. So fire 100 rounds just before you start.
Yeah, any snow that goes in just melts automatically.
Especially those deuce 1-inch barrels, right?
I see a video recently. I'm sure most of you guys have seen it, where someone was cooking bacon on a barrel. The MDT.
Yeah. Ryan McLean.
So, Ryan's having way too much fun out there.
I know. They call that work. Come on.
Hey, Ryan, just reining in a little bit, okay? It's so obvious you're having a great time. So thanks for rubbing it in.
I was actually talking to Ryan on Instagram a few days after that, and I asked him where he got the ammo from. They actually got it from Bullseye.
They bought it?
All the 6.5 Creedmoor. Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And also Ryan just got a Voodoo. I don't know if you know that.
I saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Freddie's got a request to address beyond dollars and technology, subject of physiology, basic yoga, body weight breathing. Absolutely. Part it's a game, right? This is a game, arguably a sport, and there are advantages to improving your physiology and your flexibility and your core strength. None of those I have.
They're all very important.
They're all super important. I mean, if you look at the awkward positions, the stronger your core is, the more stable you're going to be in those awkward situations, and the more flexible you are, the the less challenging those weird elevations and shooting
It's
heights are going to be.
the most difficult elevation for most guys is the bucket. Just like shooting off the bucket.
I was just gonna say, because I'm sure you could have done it for the bucket. I actually sat in front of it and assumed a seated position with my elbow.
Yeah, someone
on my knees,
mentioned you did that. Yeah,
and just basically rest the rifle. It was super stable, and
Yeah.
I know you're bendy enough to get it. I was so surprised you didn't do it.
Some people can't get into the seated positions though.
So yeah, Thomas, it's funny because someone
I know for a fact Matt can do it. So
before I shot that stage, someone mentioned that you did it, and I don't know if you remember, but in 2020, I had a trick with my bipod to use off of the top of the bucket, where my bipod legs are sticking back with the spikes on them.
Oh, I see.
And I can catch the spikes on the lip of the bucket to kind of have like a platform there.
Yeah.
But the bucket looked so stable because the snow was packed underneath it that I felt like I should just use it like with a bag on top. But then my back had to be arched so severely to get high enough.
Yeah, because it's quite high. Yeah.
Yeah. After the stage, my back was from having to reverse arch like the whole time. Yeah, it was brutal. But the height between a single milk crate and 2 milk crates, so the bucket is within there somewhere. Yeah. That's the most awkward position for most guys to shoot from.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree, like core strength, your fitness in general is good to have. Like, it's funny because our discipline is, in terms of other sports, you don't have to be as, like fit in terms of endurance but you have to steady yourself, and you have to go through a whole day of whatever weather you're going through. Right. And you have to hold steady to shoot well. So it is kind of important. Yeah.
22-pound rifles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not saying it's the same as running a marathon, but there has to be some sort of a fitness, to do well throughout the whole day.
But definitely, especially like this was a back-to-back match, right? This was essentially a 10 stages, like a CRPS. Like it takes its toll.
Yeah, but you're not shooting as far, so it's 1/3 as tiring.
You know what's funny, Thomas? Since Stittsville was always shooting double headers every other month, every single double header we shot, the morning match I did very poorly, and the afternoon match I usually got a medal. So
apparently you need 5 stages to get in.
I need 5 stages to warm up. So the morning match is a write-off, and then I'll do better in the afternoon match.
Maybe that's what we'll do. The finale will be 4 matches, 2 half days on each one, just for that.
Matt made a very interesting comment in that those 2 matches happen on the same day, same shooters.
Yes.
Morning and afternoon. But the top 3 was vastly different, which is super surprising, in my opinion. And the question is it the weather that made the difference? Is it the endurance that made the difference? Like, what is it? I thought it was super interesting.
So I noticed the top 3 shooters that got top 3 spots in the morning were not the same in the afternoon, and usually they're very consistent, top 3 shooters or whatnot. So I thought that was really interesting. I told that to Tom, and I was looking at the scores, and I can't figure out, I don't see a pattern as to why that happened.
And some,
but I will say Steve Barks, I think he got 0 on the KYL in the afternoon, so that must be a factor. Yeah, exactly. So he probably gambled too high on that one, but it was still really interesting to see that. Yeah.
Actually, the only way to find out is to run the same course of fire back to back.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm not sure how many shooters would want to do that.
But so
I would do it.
I was trying, because we've been talking about whether to continue with the prorated points based on the top score, right? And the reason behind that is to sort of even the playing field between different environment, right? We shot it in Vancouver weather versus Edmonton weather, and I was looking at the scores, trying to see if weather really makes a difference, right? Because it was the same day, but we had, for all intents and purposes, excellent weather the morning. It was pretty mild, sunny, no wind, and then all hell broke loose after lunch.
Yeah.
And the overall score was actually surprisingly not lower. What surprised me is that just the position shifted. The people at the top moved down and some people came up. So
Maybe it's because
hit percentage is not drastically different.
Maybe it's because the top shooters in the morning expended all their concentration and effort, and then when the harder weather came, they were exhausted and couldn't perform as well. It's funny because I uploaded exactly, and I uploaded the morning and afternoon matches in 2 separate videos. And if you didn't know, if you weren't there that day, you would have thought they were completely different days.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because the morning is like sunny and pretty calm, and the afternoon was like snowing and windy, and it was just insanely different weather for the 2 matches, which is very interesting
experiment to look at the stats and based on the finish is interesting, right? It's not the same people that performed, and also the difference in weather arguably had really no effect on the overall hit percentage. And I think that the 2 course of fire were pretty well matched.
I wonder if the mechanical issues due to weather stoppages related to snow, I don't know how much of that happened.
I don't think mechanical issues were as much of an issue either. Because I know some guys that were having mechanical issues in the morning switched rifles in the afternoon. And then some guys that had no mechanical issues in the morning were freezing up in the afternoon. So it was pretty balanced. And yeah, I agree. The course of fire in terms of difficulty was roughly the same. So it is very like, I don't know if did you see any patterns, Thomas, or you couldn't tell either why?
No, and because we had talked about this and I was looking at pattern, I didn't see anything. I mean, as far as I can tell, it's so. We should put this.
I guess we're all just very inconsistent shooters. Is basically
we need to get this in. Yeah, we need to get this into John's head and let him kind of mull it over. I'm sure he'll draw some conclusion.
Yeah, tell us what's going on, John. Tell us what's going on. We want to know.
Maybe it's correlated with like what month of the year you're born in or something.
I don't know. It's an interesting, like the whole ranking is a challenge with that leaderboard, just because you have all those coast to coast ranges shooting it, and if there's only one person in the division, you get 100 points no matter how well or how poorly you shot, right? So that's the biggest question: is what's the optimal way to award points, right? And but yeah, it's a tough one because then you can base it off the winner's score, but depending on who shot the match, right, you could be handicapped. Let's say someone, one match someone cleans it, so you're up against the guy that cleaned it, and a different match some guy only scores 50% hit rate, right?
Yeah. Well, and also
it's unbalanced. But
from spending a fair amount of time looking at this stuff this year, tracking it, definitely the larger clubs are at a disadvantage because there's far more competition for those top positions, and they tend to cycle more. It's not always the same guy that ends on top. Some of the smaller clubs, the scores are pretty much the same every month.
Yeah.
So you've got the same guy basically like getting 100 after 100, and then youth in production. I mean, at Stittsville, it's not uncommon that we've got only 2 production shooter or 1 or 2 youth shooter.
So Thomas, are you saying it would almost be better to just use points scored at every match, like not relative to the top shooters?
That I really don't know, and to be honest, I've tried it both ways because I have all the numbers here, and it all adds up to the same, really. So
I think whatever.
I think points scored. So month to month, it's not a big deal, but when you're looking at the overall national leader, I think points scored is probably more fair.
Yeah, because you're also shooting in a bunch of different days where the weather is probably going to even out depending what region you're in, right?
Yeah,
correct. And that the courses of fire, generally they're going to be similar, right? You won't have meatball matches. You won't have overly hard. Like right now, it's fine tuned to where you're within a very narrow bandwidth of difficulty.
I see what you mean. Yeah. So good weather one month in one region and then good weather in another month for another region. It balances out and
Exactly.
whatever.
And by good and bad weather, we really mean windy or not. And how much wind is a factor for an ORPS that's not really that long range?
Yeah,
That's also a good point.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes you'll have to hold off edge.
Oh, fair enough.
Sometimes it is, yeah.
We've got some 0.5
But again,
hold every now and again,
Yeah, the risk of those are less than kind of the lopsided results we're getting now. Right?
Yeah.
It's only a factor when you've got sparse attendance in divisions.
Divisions, yeah.
Right. Like for open, it's not an issue when it's open because
someone said a comment here.
I like it.
A handicap based on age. That's funny.
But Freddie, we're going to have handicap you in the negative way because you're more experienced.
Yeah, true.
So that works against you, my friend. Yeah, so I mean, we're going to look at it. I mean, obviously, it's not something that we're going to, it's not a decision we'll take lightly because it will affect standings, right? So, but I think the way it's coming out now in those less attended divisions, it doesn't seem like a fair playing field.
Yeah. Right? Again, because some clubs will have constantly 5-6 production shooters, and then some clubs only have 1 or 2.
Correct.
And it's more of an issue for production division than it is for open.
Youth. It's youth and production are the ones.
Right.
Because that's just the way it works.
So just because Thomas presented some things just now that I never thought of, especially the wind and within 100 yards, how much does it matter? Like it is arguably less of a factor than a CRPS match, right? So in my opinion, based on those factors, I would say just going based on raw scoring would be
for all divisions.
For all divisions would be fair for ORPS, but just as a disclaimer, this is only my opinion, and I don't make the decisions here. But that's just what I feel like. Like it's going to even out throughout the season, and it's within 100 yards, right? Yeah. So that's just my opinion. So,
dear shooters, Matt says,
if that change is made, it was not my decision. I don't do anything for official rules. But I mean, it makes sense, right? Like.
It does make sense. Again, I mean, I think if the courses of fire were imbalanced month to month, and then it's less fair.
Yes.
But given that we're at the point of the evolution where the courses of fire are relatively the same, right? Plus or minus, 1 to 5% degree of difficulty, right? That your score shooting is fair if we take that instead of just a series points calculation percentage.
Yeah, I agree, but I will let the senior CRPS executives decide on that.
You mean my wife?
Yeah. Can you ask Mrs. Rickster if she agrees with that?
I'll do that. I'll submit a proposal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Actually, Kareem, no one's really getting hung up about it. We're just trying to be proactive and trying to get ahead of the curve.
I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone takes it too seriously, but it is nice to see where you stand amongst other shooters as well. Yeah.
Paradise. Freddie's living in paradise. But but Freddie, you got to shoot with Mark, Kareem, and Fedor. So, there's into each life a little rain must fall. That's a nice setup they got down there. Victoria fishing game.
Mark's RPS.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. They got a campground there with fire pits and picnic tables.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's how Rick judges a range if it's a good place to sleep.
But by the amenities.
Well, speaking of amenities, the Stittsville outhouse blew over that day. It was really windy.
No.
Crazy wind.
I went to the range on Friday before the match, and the range officer's like, "Yo, man, don't use that outhouse. It flipped over yesterday." And I was like, "Okay."
No.
The juice is all over.
And then it was really cold the next day, so it's frozen now.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's not good. That's not good.
But it's the shooters that matter, and the Stittsville shooters are a great group of girls and guys. So
you guys had over like 25 shooters there last weekend.
Yeah. Well, one match 2 months ago.
28.
2 months ago, we had like 40 shooters or something.
I know it was 28 because the following day at midnight, the outdoor gathering size dropped to 25. So we would have been over.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about start with maximum points every year.
Well, that would be the same as just totaling points.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? It's just the opposite of it.
Just the opposite. And involves way more math.
Yeah, it involves too much math.
Yeah.
It's like the European.
You got to remember. You got to remember. Thomas is the one that's like, we've got a serious handicap already. You don't want to throw more stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's the same thing as counting points. Hey, Thomas, I forgot to ask you. You tried the practice score setup fix, right? To have the time stage.
Yes, and we did have a tie, and it actually sorted it out properly.
Nice, awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a resolved issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
No one knows what we're talking about, but that's good.
We used to do it manually.
Yeah.
So basically, to fill people in, is we use practice score to score, at least for those who do it on tablets, and if your match director gives you paper, say thank you, because basically he's filling out the stuff on practice score once he gets home. But practice score would rank people based on total score and the time of the time stage. But our rule book states that it's points of the tiebreaker stage first, then time, which meant that, and it tripped me up. I can't do that kind of stuff on the fly during a match. But basically, like when came the time to give out the medals, if I had a tie, I'd have to go back, figure out which of the stage was time, and then go look at the score of that. But by the time I did that, I forgot who I was looking for. And and then you do that twice when you have a double header, so it gets all messy. So because of that, I was kind of saying we should change the rules and just make it simple. Basically, it's got to match what practice score outputs. And Matt started looking into it, and Adam Cool was involved, and eventually the answer came up. So there's a way to set the timebreaker stage as a skill stage, and that's everything sorts properly when you do that.
Yeah. So it then prioritizes your points for that stage and then the time, which is according to our rule books.
Correct.
So instead of you having to go manually afterwards to search who won the time stage, it outputs it correctly. So we can now trust the practice score.
Yeah. And I think points make sense.
It makes sense. And that's what
you scored. You scored better, not faster. I got 0, but I was faster than you. How's that possible?
Yeah. And it's funny because this whole solution came about Adam looking at his practice score tablet and realizing that his wasn't set up for NRS either.
Yeah.
So then he found the solution.
Had the same problem.
Yeah. And now both series are fixed.
Nice.
Which is great. Yeah. So that's good. I meant to ask you that day of if it worked. But,
no, it worked.
Slipped my mind.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I took a gamble. I didn't check it on the spot, but when I got home, I double checked that the tiebreakers had evaluated properly.
Well, you already gave me my third place medal, so I wasn't going to give it back.
I was really praying that.
Yeah, got to go on the wall. It's already in the frame.
Yeah, it's already framed on the wall.
Mounted in the hallway.
Yeah, got my little plaque underneath it.
next to the statue.
Yeah.
Oh man.
True. Shout out to the Ken and his group in Guelph. I mean, they're pretty consistently one of the biggest group of ORPS shooter. Yeah.
Ken runs bigger matches than I do. Ken runs more people through ORPS than I've run through CRPS.
That's pretty amazing.
Let's put that into perspective, folks.
Oh, that's true because this is monthly too.
Yeah. Stittsville is a close second.
I think he skips a couple of months.
Yeah, there was some months.
But...
Yeah.
I say okay, so Stittsville is right up there with him.
Right. Yeah. That makes.
You guys are the slow and steady wins the race crew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we consistently get more than 20 shooters, like between 20 and 30, I would say. And that 1 month we had 40 out, which was insane.
Yeah.
For the size of firing.
That was too much. I dialed it back after that
take it easy, Freddie. Merry Christmas to you, sir.
See you, Freddie.
I'm glad that we have a consistent group at this point because I mean, Stittsville is not a club ran; it's a business, so we pay to play. And I remember at one point I showed up at the range, and and there was only 8 of us, and it was just before, like just on the edge of the beginning of hunting season, and basically the range lost a ton of money because we were occupying the
entire 200-yard
the
range.
entire 200 range, and they turned away like 5 or 6 people that are paying $30 just to come and zero their rifle real quick. So that was not good. That did not bode well for the longevity of our sport, but thankfully we've grown. And as a business, we bring a lot of business there, and they support us.
And there's quite a few guys that drive a substantial distance to Stittsville Club now.
Montreal, Petawawa. Shame on you, Rick. We had Gabriel, Susie, Andrew. What's his last name? Andrew. I forget, but we have quite a few guys from the West Island.
Hey, whatever happened? Have you heard from Martin recently? Martin Hector, I think.
No, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Because he's from Montreal too, right?
Yeah, the West Island. Also, he's in Hudson. The one I haven't seen in a while is Benjamin Pinel. He must be. He's in school.
He's busy. He's a student, so
yeah, he's a student. Yeah, we were supposed to go out the last couple of days. So he's back. He's surfaced. He's back above ground now.
Right.
Make sure to remind him to tighten down his MDT scope rings before he tries to shoot a matchup.
all those rookie lessons are learned. So
I don't know. Forgetting to check your torque for one too many shooting session happens to all of it to the best of us.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he only found it out on the last like 2 stages of that match.
Yeah, it's almost a 3-hour drive for me.
Who's the Facebook user that's saying 3 hour? Is that Gabriel? I don't see her.
Well, I think so. In terms of time, I think Russ drives the furthest.
Yeah, Gabriel.
Yeah, I feel for you guys. I actually called back Russ, who was heading to Toronto. I said, "Listen, if you've just turned around, come and spend the night at my place. Like, we'll hang out." But he said he was just gonna take it slow and steady, and he made it home. He did call me. But yes, you guys have long distances to drive, and we appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any sympathy for the Southwest Ontario guys because I have to do that drive for all the big matches.
Yeah. That's probably the hardest drive to do in a day.
Yeah. It's also because the 401 is not pretty. It's just like highway. There's nothing scenic about it. It's just like
and it's dark, man, when you're heading.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
Like pitch black.
I was so impressed, and when like you, Kevin, Rob Gordon, when we came back from the Eastern final from Battle Hill.
Oh, last year, that was crazy.
I bailed less than an hour. I think I don't know what's within an hour of
Trenton, maybe.
No,
not Trenton. Like Aurora. No, Ajax.
It starts with a K or something like that. But basically, I bailed 45 minutes in. I was whatever hotel I could find. I'm like,
that's funny.
I'm gonna deal with that the next day. But you and Kevin and a lot of the Ottawa guys just kept on going. It was
that was a bad snowstorm too. The only reason why I did that drive, or I decided to keep going, was because I was borrowing my mom's all-wheel drive Subaru.
Right.
If I was in my car, there's no way I would have attempted that. So, yeah. And at one point on the 401, everyone was going like 50 kilometers an hour because the snow was like 8 inches deep, and you can.
It's pretty bad.
It's when it adds up and it covers your headlights.
Yeah. It was basically a 9-hour drive that drive home.
After
brutal.
a full day of match.
Yes, and I had to work the next day.
That's crazy.
But that match was a lot of fun. Good times, great memories. So
good stages. That was a fun match. That was a fun match.
Yeah,
I enjoyed.
There's like all the matches are great, but there's some very memorable matches.
Yeah.
So
I like shooting at the water.
Yeah. You hear the splash when you miss, right? So,
I did not like looking for the targets across the valley.
Right, that was tough.
Could not see a darn thing.
Distinctively remember that stage because before I got on scope, I had figured out where they were.
Yep.
And then
Are
I
you
get
talking about the one out of the treehouse, Tom?
yeah.
Yeah.
So you're kind of, and specifically that one target that was painted
Yeah.
white straight across,
Couldn't
and
see
the
it.
sun just peeked in between the trees, and everything just glared up, and
Yeah.
I could never find it. I had no
Yeah.
idea what it was.
It was bad news.
Yeah.
But
Bad timing there for the
it is
sun
what
to
it
finally
is.
show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the more memorable matches for me was I think it was the CRPS at Palmerston earlier this year, for two reasons. First off, the droid stage on the hill was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and then
Right up
and
your
then
alley,
the
that's for sure.
and then the stage I zeroed on the tank traps
The mag
was
change.
the mag change stage was my biggest downfall. So that was also very memorable for a different reason. So
That was
Yeah.
a fun match too.
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I did not like shooting out of the trailer.
Oh, I love that stage. The whole match was a lot of fun. Even the stage I zeroed was a lot of fun. So
We had a lot of fun with you shooting that stage.
thanks, Rick. Yeah, worth it.
Worth it.
But yeah, I mean, I hope 2022 is a better season for matches for the CRPS. But
We'll see.
fingers crossed, it'll be good.
We have a crap ton of stuff planned.
It'd be pretty cool.
It'll be fun to try the new series too.
Yeah. And we'll also have announcements in the new year once things are finalized. The Rimfire Nation days are coming. The Rimfire Competition Academy is coming out. What is that? That's a good question. You'll find out shortly.
Okay, I was like, I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah.
Rimfire Academy.
It's basically ground school for new and inexperienced shooters.
Okay, is it like a clinic type day?
It's a clinic, yeah. So
Okay.
we'll work through basically what you need to be comfortable shooting a match. All the rules, regulations, all of the basic data you need, all the basic equipment. Get your dope right. Understand kind of basic win. We're not teaching you to win. We're teaching you to compete. So there's a difference, right? We'll cover maybe some fundamentals, but we're not there to instruct you in fundamentals. We're there to instruct you in how to shoot a match and be armed with all the tools you need to be confident that you know what you're working on and what you need to keep working on. So that'll be coming in the new year, along with the Rimfire Nation days, which is our one-day expo demo day where you get to try out all the cool stuff that is part of the CRPS family. Yeah. Come on out, have some fun, bring some friends.
That's a
Find your next
emptying
addiction.
your wallet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Operators are standing by. And we'll have all the cool gear.
You're gonna have to invite out like a financing company to, to help with all the
Who does that? Oh, there's MDT works with someone, don't they?
Yeah. There's a financing option. Okay, honestly
remember.
though, I work in wealth management. I would have to say, do not finance your hobbies. Your hobbies should be something that you can afford. If you're taking out credit for your hobbies, you got to rethink your budget for that.
Anyway, getting back to the original topic. Absolutely. It's not wise to borrow money to fund your hobby.
Yeah.
But if you want to live the life for one day, come out to a Rimfire Nation Day and see all the cool gear and all the fun ways to spend your time with Rimfire. It's going to be awesome.
And don't overthink it. If there's an ORPS anywhere near you, try it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's going to be a Rimfire Nation Day in January 22nd.
Oh, okay. Wow.
That's pretty soon. Really.
I'm not ready to announce it yet. We're just trying to finalize a couple of things. So
do you have rough location?
Cornwall.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice to know.
It's going to be Cornwall.
If you need some volunteers, you have local guys.
Perfect. Yeah. So we're going to work all that stuff out. That's why I'm just trying to get through the holidays and then hit it hard. Yeah.
Cool.
So,
awesome. I look forward to that announcement.
And then so the plan is to take both those things, the Rimfire Nation Days and the Rimfire Competition Academy, across Canada from New Brunswick all the way to Vancouver Island. So we're actively looking at all the different host ranges. And then we'll do the same thing for the National Championship. We'll have Rimfire Nation Day there and the Competition Academy there as well. So,
that's awesome too. The championships, national championships.
The nationals. People start saving up, man. It's going to be a blast. And we haven't worked out how many people get the invites, and an invite basically is a free ride not a free ride, free registration.
Yeah, that's completely different things.
Completely different. So it's gonna be based on where you rank in your region, right? So you get the
So like top
invitation
15 or something like that.
something like that. We haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But if everyone gets a free ride, then we don't make money. So that's not going to work out.
Right. Yeah.
So we'll have to think about that because we have 3 divisions. Well, the youth don't pay anyway.
Based on that, I think we should start a flower delivering service, maybe wine delivering service for spouses and significant others. Because I got to start working on that before I can.
Well, you guys have
wander
done
off for 4 or 5 days.
Thomas, it could be work related. I will sit down with you at least 15, 20 minutes so you can pitch me on whatever medical imaging products.
Yeah. And then you can expense it, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, I'm a very important man with very high ability to spend on my company, so I could be interested in your product.
I've already had many meetings at the Western University in London.
There you go.
Because I got to figure.
Saskatoon is a hotbed for medical imaging.
Right. Let's see. That's super cool. And was it last week that you had Grant? What's his
Grant Sparling?
Yeah,
Grant Sparling. Yep.
He got me pretty fired up at the idea of shooting the U.S. I don't know if I could qualify, but
I was talking to Adam about that. The PRS standings, right, to qualify to go to, so that might be something I want to try too.
There you go. Set a goal, man.
Shoot for,
yeah.
Exactly. Set a goal. You got to have a plan to get to that goal, right?
Yeah.
So
my plan is to hit more targets and suck less. So
there you go. That's a good plan.
No, I think Matt and I, being mostly confined to Stittsville, we need to find a way to practice win better. Because we're very limited. The wind's always sort of funneled between the 2 berms. Yeah. So it's more often than not a headwind. So we get, and that's usually what just destroys me on a nice, during the NRS finale, the first day. Was it the first day, I think? Yeah.
Yes. The first day was tough.
And I felt like I was on top of the world. And then the next day was a harsh reality check. I mean, just destroyed.
Yeah. Wait, isn't Adam doing Kestrel course next
year? He has Kestrel clinics next year. Yeah.
I'm so looking forward to this because I feel like I'm pretty clumsy with the Kestrel. And I actually wrote a bunch of questions to Kestrel, who eventually the answer came back from someone at Applied Ballistics. I don't know if I should say this on a podcast, but I'm not sure they know rimfire as well as they know center fire.
Right.
Because there's a lot of conflicting information in there. So it'd be interesting to have something focus on 22. And most of in my opinion, most of the stuff that's not clear comes with, to me, so some places say that you should use your muzzle velocity calibration, but why would I need that if I already measured it? Well, one of the answer was that, well, who cares if it's real or not? What counts is that your drop match reality.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you've got the temperature compensation in there, which works sometimes and not. And my question is not, I've read the manual. They've answered most of my question. I know what to do to get it to match perfectly on one day.
Yeah.
But then when I show up at the zero site in the morning, and I have to go to tweak a couple of, clicks, all that now gets thrown out, and I'm not sure how to compensate for it. But I have the feeling I'm just splitting hair, and I shouldn't worry about any of this. But
we should spend a weekend with John Gingrich at his ranch.
Yes.
And just because he seems to be doing okay, right?
But he doesn't use a Kestrel.
No, but he seems to be doing okay.
I'm not sure that's as unique to the Kestrel, though.
No, exactly. So, and then invite Yannick along for shits and giggles, and then just spend a weekend saying, "Well, break it down for me. What are the 3 or 5 things that I need to do consistently, right? Because it's not 15. It's like 3 to 5 things
Well,
that you
so
can improve your
Thomas,
game.
Thomas, you mentioned it might be splitting hairs. Let me raise this point to you. Kevin Goyette
Yeah.
places very well in all the matches he shoots, and he does not care about the small details in the calculators. I'll put it that way.
So that's
Yeah.
that says something right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe
So you
I'm
just got
I'm just looking for an excuse.
well, you
My
just have
job
to have
was
someone
done.
to teach you, right? Like
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
these are taught, right? So, military snipers don't come naturally. They're taught the fundamentals of wind reading, right? So
Yeah.
there's a course out there. You just got to
Eh,
sit down or
And
find
that's
someone
that-
that you can get along with to show you
yeah.
their way, and then you decide take the best and leave the rest, right? That's the
Yeah.
Maple Seed way.
And that's
So
another big thing, and I know John's big on that, the mental, right? Keeping your focus
yeah,
through the match, because I catch myself every now and again, right? You shoot. I'm trying to get into the habit, like if I shoot a match and I finally connected at 200, and I was
yeah,
holding, let's say, 1.8, right? Well, I should write down that I have 1.8, because once that stage is finished, in my mind, it's like it's never existed. And then I go back to the next one and I look
yeah,
at what my Kestrel did. But if it took me 2 or 3 shots to get on target, that's
yeah,
because whatever my win call was is not the right. Like you see how it's
yeah,
not
Yeah.
one stage at a time. You got to
Yeah.
accumulate, compound
right,
all this information. And I'm working on having the mental presence and the
yeah,
focus to do this. I take more notes now after each match, each stage, but
Mhm.
yeah,
it's still not like I'm
yeah,
assuming someone like Yannick, he's very conscious of all that, right?
yeah,
And you can tell because you'll talk about a match and he could, I missed this target, but then I got the next two, and I mean, I'm finished shooting. I'm not even sure which target I hit and which I didn't. It's such a blur. so,
yeah.
so this is a big difference, right? They have
And,
this
and
mental focus
and
that,
that's why our finger goes all the way to here when we're
yeah,
looking for our name.
100%. So,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
and
someone told me like the first thing you got to learn is when you miss, what are you going to do with your next shot,
right.
right? If you don't have an answer to that, then you don't really know what you're doing yet.
Or even if you hit, what are you going to do with your next shot? Because
Yeah,
a really good
Absolutely.
example of what Thomas was talking about, and it actually kind of sucks because now I have a scope camera, so you can actually see what I'm aiming at, and it's good and bad. It's really good for the videos. It's really embarrassing sometimes because there's one stage at the CRPS finale. It bothers me. I can't even watch the video because it bothers me so much. But it was the hostage stage with the 2 tangles beside the
yeah,
hostage. So I had the perfect win call for the left hostage. Or pardon me, hostage taker, and I was hitting it every time I engaged it. Basically, I was hitting it. When I went to the right, for some reason,
You were
because
scared.
the hostage was there, so I was scared of holding too little wind and hitting the hostage. So I would keep holding too much wind, and every time I went back to the right target, I was doing the same thing. All I had to do was hold the same wind, but I just wasn't registering in my head that that was working, right? And
Well,
it's not like the wind changed. I was shooting the other target like a split second after the other one. So
yeah.
yeah.
And I find that, I mean, for the rest of us, thank you for putting yourself on display like that. But it's such a learning experience for the rest of us just to watch what you do because you're a really good shooter. And the other guy that's doing this is Chris Gaudreau, I believe.
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I think he shoots in Guelph.
Mhm.
And it's, I mean, you guys are doing everybody a service because it's so valuable to see this. And if you look him up, Tony he doesn't have very many, but he's got a couple of those match video where you can see through his scope, and you're like, wow, like a top shooter. Unfortunately, nothing is magic. He sees exactly what I see, and he's just as wobbly as I am. It's
yeah,
just that his timing, his form, there's something he does that's better, clearly. But
Yeah.
it's not a better scope that somehow has stability or anything like that.
And one thing, I already told this to Thomas, but one thing that was really eye-opening looking at my scope camera footage is, in my mind, I am 80% more stable than what I see in the video.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm rock solid. Like, I can take the shot, I'll hit it. And then I watch the video afterwards. I'm like, I'm all over the place. Like, it's really strange what the mind does, right? And obviously, you're in control of a lot more than you realize. But it's a lot of timing and being as stable as you can be in that wobble zone or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's really eye-opening. I think it's a great training tool for, if you want to see what you're doing. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll definitely use
scope cam, Thomas.
What's that?
Should borrow a scope cam for a session.
I'm planning to. I've already mentioned it to Matt, because it'd be nice for both of us to shoot the same match. And you'll have what a top 10 looks like, and you'll see what a top 20 looks like.
Yeah, I can put them side by side or something.
If you need a top 30 shooter, I'm available.
Yeah, well, if there were 30 shooters, I'd be right there with you. But typically, we'll get about 20.
Hey, that spot's taken, buddy.
Yeah. But if you were to actually see a fault in your shooting in that footage, I don't know if you would be, but if you could tell what you were doing wrong, imagine how valuable that would be as a training tool, right? Yeah. So
it'd be cool to film you also shooting, not just the shot.
and overlay it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but your body position. Yeah, exactly.
And I noticed, and as just speaking of it as a learning tool, I noticed also, like, I would miss a target and then I would do the same hold. Like, why am I doing that? It's completely, it's the definition of insanity, right? But in the moment, you're just like
hitting
you're
the
just
wall.
trying to, exactly. Yeah. Your brain is just not functioning all the way there. Yeah. It's quite interesting.
All I know is you have to have your elevation dialed in.
Yeah,
because you can't be solving two problems at the same time, right?
Yeah, and your scope caps have to be open too.
Yeah, scope caps have to be open, and you have to be not off by a revolution on your turrets.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, once you got those done, then you're good to go.
Actually, that part of the footage was hilarious when you sort of get on it, and I don't know if in the scope you could see yourself, but like in the camera we kind of see your
it's so funny. It's because the camera, if the lens is closed, it films the brightest object, right? Which is
like a mirror.
Looking backwards, so I can see my eye like looking around trying to figure out why I can't see anything.
That's hilarious.
In the moment, I remember thinking to myself that the camera malfunctioned, or like the mount somehow shifted.
Oh yeah.
And it was blocking my. So that's why I didn't even think about the lens cap, because I don't usually shoot with lens cap closed. But when I realized, I was like, oh man, like now I have to post this online. Like, come on. But it's funny. So
those are cool little bloopers. It's awesome.
Yeah,
that's it.
All right, more comments. Maybe
I guess we're just talking amongst ourselves now. Everyone already went to bed.
Oh, Rob's still there. Hey, Rob. Accepting wobble. Wobble is a reality. So it's about knowing when to pull the trigger when you have the perfect side picture.
Yeah.
That goes back to the video we saw recently from Ryan Stacy, who basically says, practice offhand, because that's the best way to practice your eye and trigger finger coordination, right? So that at that split second when your eye sees the right thing, your finger goes. So
Yep, absolutely. I 100% believe it.
Requires lots and lots and lots of rounds.
Yep. 10,000 rounds. You're almost there, Matt.
Good thing Rimfire is cheap.
Ish.
You don't have to do it all in the same year,
Yeah, that's true.
No one said it was now.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, gents. Almost 2.5 hours. Another short conversation.
Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
I know, right? It's been a great year, guys.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so happy for all the friends that I met as part of this journey through CRPS. Appreciate you guys contributing, all the help, and big thank you to all the shooters out there for all your support and all the many laughs I have coast to coast traveling with you bozos out there. Looking forward to adding the Atlantic provinces next year. Merry Christmas, Kareem Kilani. We'll see you on the island in 2022. Maybe at the Nationals too, if you keep your stats up. Even if you don't, come out anyway. It'll be fun. Gentlemen, thank you. It's been a pleasure. We are taking next week off, so no podcast next week. Everybody enjoy the break. Stay safe. Kim, thank you for all the help setting up cam loops. Rob, definitely going to hit you up for if you're willing to volunteer for the January 22nd at the Cornwall Handgun Club. The details are still being sketched out in terms of how many people can attend. This COVID stuff is now kind of potentially throwing a monkey wrench into all of that. So so we'll have to see. So anyway, thanks everybody. Shout out to Tesro.ca. Asmir, Miriam, thank you very much for all the support that you've given shooters across Canada. It is greatly appreciated. We look forward to 2022, an even bigger year. And everyone have a great holiday season. Thank you very much. Any shout outs, Matt or Thomas?
Nothing specific. Thanks to everybody who's coming out shooting.
It's been a great time. Thanks also to John and Kevin who weren't able to be on the podcast tonight. Solid guys. Also another part of the Rimfire Nation crew. Always fun when we all get together. So here's to many more.
Yeah, these guys are so busy. Lots of work.
I know. All right, take it easy, guys.
See ya. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes.